Welcome, everybody, to episode 57 of the ADV podcast. Mm-hmm. We have a very important one for you today, as we always do. We've got quite a lot to discuss, especially about the whole snitching thing that's starting to take over in China.
Snitches don't get stitches in China.
No,
they get rewards.
Snitches get rewards,
they get Snickers.
I guess, yeah. And we're going to be talking about a little bit about Xinjiang again, as usual, but we've got some ridiculous stuff to show you. I might be a bit groggy. I just had my second shot for my Pfizer vaccine yesterday, and it's only hitting me now. I'm feeling a bit tired.
Especially your arm.
Yeah.
My first vaccine, it felt like someone stabbed me with a dagger in my arm.
But for those of you who are interested, it seems like everything else is fine. I'm not like, I haven't turned sterile and have like mercury poisoning or something. So, although I don't know how I test that, but anyway. Let's get straight into it. No. Let's just get straight into it. We're doing What's New, where we talk about what's new in China.
Yeah.
You know, specifically to do with China.
A couple updates, though.
Okay.
Can you run our media pack, please?
I certainly can. What have we got going here?
Remember when we made this NFT for you guys that are new?
Yeah.
Winston made fun of some artwork of a man who drew on Chinese money.
Yeah, that was his thing. And he got put in a gallery.
He got put in a gallery. But he did the right thing because he fought back.
Yeah, I'm not. By the way, I'm not slighting him. I think art is art. It can be interpreted in any way.
But so can yours.
Yes.
And so can our art, as Winston demonstrated with this limited edition NFT.
Sure.
We opened the bidding the last podcast, and people bid on it immediately.
I can't believe it.
And people are actually talking about it on the forums and stuff about how they want the NFT. Just to let you know, the link is down below. It's still live. I think it'll be for about 2 more shows.
Yeah.
But if you want to get in there, it's there.
It's just, it's ridiculous, but whatever.
You'll also get the real thing.
Yeah, whoever wins it will get the real thing.
We'll mail it to you with a certificate of authenticity.
Yeah.
And then next, we also have something. This is exciting. This is the same thing.
Can you believe that's...
Can you believe this is exactly this? Oh, yeah. Can you believe that's what it's at? But this is exciting.
Okay.
If you can remove us so they can read the link for a second. This is everpress.com/ADVChina. This is Two Cheats at the Clown. And we ironically, we spoke about this last time, but maybe making an NFT about this. But even better, we actually had this as a merch campaign. And let me tell you a little story.
Sure.
Winston and I used to, we still do, troll the Chinese internet forums. I shouldn't say troll, I should say troll.
Troll, like as in a fishing trawler.
We don't post on them. We read them, and especially about the forums on how to attack us.
Yeah, because there are tons out there, and it's interesting because we can read Chinese and we see all these dastardly ways they're thinking of attacking us and our families.
Yeah, and we often... they'll use language that's a little bit covert, a little bit strange. And one particular phrase that we still never managed to understand was when they constantly called us two cheats hit the clown.
Yeah.
They would say, these two cheats hit the clown.
Yeah.
And they'd be talking about us. We are the cheats. Don't know who the clown is.
No.
We've asked Chinese friends. We've tried to translate it. We've tried to talk to people about this. No one can really figure it out. But we do know that this is what they call us, and we figured, why not profit off of the hate?
Sure.
So here is a limited time merch of us hitting a clown who is holding a 50-cent piece.
Yeah, and
could be symbolizing a Wu Mao.
It symbolizes Wu Mao's, and they coined the phrase. So
phrase.
Yeah,
it's a lot of interesting theoretical artwork in this picture. Yeah. But anyway, this will be up for 2 more weeks. We released this last year, and then people kept emailing us about it.
Yeah,
emailed the company to complain that it was gone.
Yeah, so
we brought it back.
Yeah, we brought it back. Now we're moving straight along from all those plugs and things, and we're going straight into our...
At least it's our own plugs. It's not for another company.
Absolutely.
All proceeds go to ADV Media.
Okay, yeah.
Us.
Guys, China has this very cringe thing that they do. Whenever there's a political thing going on, they tend to make a rap about it. Okay.
Can I give it a little background?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
So
Barrel roll?
Barrel roll?
Yeah.
Barrel roll. That's their Belt and Road rap.
Yeah.
Winston and I, when we were in Taiwan, we filmed a video about how China banned rap. And they did.
They did.
They banned rap music because they thought it was a nefarious Western influence.
Yes.
And they hate Western influence.
Absolutely.
Let's just say this. Well, the Chinese government does.
Yeah.
So they had this show called Rap of China. I believe they pulled it for a second season, and people got so mad. They realized the potential unrest or complaints from the young people was worse than
so they brought
rap.
It back.
So they brought it back.
Yeah.
But a lot of the rap is just goes through censor boards, right?
Sure.
Now, China does have an underground rap scene, but the stuff that makes it to mainstream is very much like on the surface bullshit, like rise up, we are good people, do the right thing. You know, it's the opposite of what rap music really is.
I actually remember I went and interviewed that rap group, Honor of the Ghetto, and they were complaining that they couldn't really express themselves.
Correct.
And that they couldn't have tattoos on show when they do it. They have to, like, the guy said they have to dress up like a mummy, basically, you know, because cover up all their tattoos and stuff,
Very interesting interview. Yeah. Now, the thing is, when they brought back rap, they also saw this as an opportunity. If we're going to unban rap, why not use it to promote state propaganda?
Sure.
They've done this. And I've told them, I've told you, CCP, I've told you how this is cringe. Yeah. No one's going to like this, including your own citizens. They're going to laugh at you. Yeah. And they do every time. Nobody thinks this is cool, but they don't stop. Every time they post something, it's downvoted into oblivion.
Sure.
Everyone's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It's meant to appeal to Westerners as well and be like, look at how cool the Chinese government is. They make raps about government meetings amongst party officials.
It's really cringe. It's kind of like when you see those Christian raps.
Yes.
Where like some old Christian pastors trying to rap to be like, hip with the young
Jesus
crowd.
is...
You know? It's like,
Everyone will know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Old internet. But anyway... the opposite of Lola Farley, really, we can say.
Should we play a little?
We have to set up what they are. Okay, They've now made a state-sponsored rap about Xinjiang cotton boycotts.
Yes.
Where they throw punches at the West. They literally... Can you imagine NWA or like, I don't know, like a modern-day rapper making a song about cotton boycotts?
Yeah.
Because of political reasons.
Sure.
We're going to look at that one first, and then we're going to even one-up you with the second one.
Yeah, it's going to be even a better one. So let's hit it. Let's go. I just want to, go out there and show that they're basically saying, look at the West did. They had slavery and cotton, and they show old pictures of, like, from the back in the day in America with, like, slaves picking cotton. This is a rap song.
Yes.
Just so you all know. Let's get back to it.
第一，肯定像我一样因私作弊。4000多的 AJ 转了3个月就裂开水管，质量好坏硬就收跟那些跟风崇拜，经济要靠中国市场，去年财报逆势上扬，有过就让中国扛，又当又立状元郎。只要松开了利益，就是破坏了所谓自由。毕竟是巨头，研究的灯塔有些废油，无力神化成流回欲望，怎么能说出高低都无法呼吸？难道让东方一流？听到护士哭着发光，两人在自杀。对岸中指成成别了下架把一直加，犹如一冲进国会大厦，武汉白银花的趴这么卷骂，要当全世界面冲破你的谎。中国场面世界第一，清朝场面中国第一，解决了贫困。
So then they had to. This is what it is. The state-sponsored rep goes from attacking the West, values of democracy, is saying, while you guys are protesting, while you guys are doing all this stuff, we're enjoying our beautiful spring in Wuhan, where we fought and cured the pandemic.
Yes, and then
because that's what rappers rap about.
Look at this. They say China never solved poverty because it believed in the ridiculous, childish fairy tales of the West. So again, they're like, we cured poverty, which they didn't actually. We've spoken about that before.
Right.
But it's just the biggest, worst nonsense crap that you can ever imagine.
It's just cringe.
It's
Now, before anyone says, because this is, I will say, the best musical flow of any of the state-sponsored reps, because it's literally like mid-2000s MC Hot Dog. And MC Hot Dog is a Taiwanese rapper.
Yeah.
The only famous Chinese rapper from that time. And they're just completely verbatim copying his cadence, his flow, and everything like this, because they can't even come up with anything themselves.
No, of course.
Now, this one, we brought this up not to really poke fun at it, more to say this is pretty damn cringe. Now, the one following this...
Yeah, I'll fast forward a bit so we can get to that. Because you can see where this goes. It's literally like... self-proclaimed defenders of human rights, but rape them again and again. What?
Oh, do the last phrase on this.
Okay, to bite the hand that feeds. Ugly colonists. What's this? I like this. The ugly face of the Western colonists is recorded on the snowy white cotton. Okay.
So basically, they're saying like, how dare you boycott the cotton?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
The demon will think there are demons all around. So that's basically, it's an old Chinese saying to think that you must...
Correct.
The only reason why you think there's forced labor out there is because you do it yourself.
Right.
Now this is... China should look inward because that's what they do all the time. That's literally the state that when it goes out there and says something like, oh, you do this, it's because they're doing it themselves.
Yes.
It's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, what was the last one you wanted to see? We shall not surrender. Okay. Overthrow unequal contracts and plant the cleanest cotton.
That's cool, isn't it? Isn't that badass?
More than 500,000 people died in COVID-19 don't know what kind of country has the qualifications to talk about human rights. You know, they're just...
That's technical.
Yeah. The BBC has repeatedly used rumors to destroy its credibility. Cut off the crap. Our missile is ready. Wait, what? Cut off the crap. Our missile is ready. So are you threatening war?
Yeah.
I thought you were afraid of the hell, and we all know you are already in it.
I just love that.
And they use that commie rabbit. Remember we did that thing about the commie rabbit?
Out. There's this commie. They use these commie cartoon characters, and they actually
kids.
Use this in this.
We had a whole episode about that. You can look it up if you.
Actually, one of our thumbnails is that.
Yeah, the thumbnail. You'll see this like cartoon communist rabbit. Anyway, for those of you who are interested.
So yeah, that sums up that one. Now that's cringe as hell. We can all agree on this. But China, CGTN, our favorite. CGTN, by the way, just quickly, if you ever see CGTN, you have to know this is a despicable, rapacious, disgusting arm of the Chinese government, and anyone associated with them is working for a rapacious, horrible arm of the government.
Yeah, I mean, we've got something coming up later which we'll show you that's on CGTN, and you have to understand that you cannot separate the different segments of CGTN. CGTN is one big propaganda arm of the government, and everything that they do is in service of the CCP. And they're horrible. They put all sorts of... We're going to get into that, but yeah, you want to get on to this?
CGTN put out a rap, and they made sure they got a token black person, of course, from Ghana. And what they did was, they said, there's a lot of this heat coming at us about the Xinjiang thing and how we treat minorities. Yeah. So we're going to get minorities, a black guy, and then some Chinese minorities.
In Ghana, by the way.
It doesn't matter. They have their nationality / their Chinese minority next to their name.
Yeah, you got to
when
look
they're
out
rapping.
For that. Yeah.
They have very old people. I don't think people in their late 40s should be rapping, by the way. Not this guy. There's like some Chinese woman. But anyway, CGTN put this Communist Party of China rap out. Again, cringe to death about an ode to China. How amazing China is. Not from Chinese people, from Chinese minorities. Yeah. And it's very important that you hear their words.
Yeah, you'll see there's something related to that later.
Oh, shit. Wait for this.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, they're just talking about, oh, no, look, now you get free education.
Why do Chinese people always look at I shouldn't say Chinese people. Why does the Chinese government always look at the U.S. as like having prohibitively expensive education when it's free? It is free.
I didn't even know that till I moved here.
Yeah, it's free. It's public schools are free.
Yeah, schooling is free. That's you move into an area and then you can.
Yeah,
your kids go to that.
But there's this fallacy. They have to brag about that all the time.
I think it's because you hear about student loans and stuff all the time. But that's your own fault. If you want to go do like I don't know some studies of some nonsense, you know,
that's
in university,
for college.
Yeah, you pay for that. That's tertiary education, you know. But yeah, like normal school's free. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
5G's got to get in there.
Many times became old, trying to made it. Working so hard, but they keep on hating. Let's be real.
So yeah, you can get the idea of where this is going, right?
No, but you got to keep it going.
We will, but it's all like
it gets progressively worse. This guy's the best by far.
Yeah, everyone's hating on China. China's doing such a good job. Look at their poverty alleviation, their schooling, their infrastructure. Look, they're building all this stuff.
I actually kind of feel bad for the Ghana dude though, because like we have friends from Ghana.
Sure.
There is a massive anti-CCP sentiment in Ghana right now because of what they're doing to their country.
Yeah.
Especially with all the illegal mines they keep opening up. And so this guy might get a little bit of hate back home for doing
we'll see.
Gotta have that.
Yeah. Absolutely, guys. So in 2020, there's no extreme poverty. Okay, maybe there is no extreme poverty, but what do you classify as extreme poverty again?
$400 a year?
Yeah, that's extreme poverty, and that's what if you are getting $400 a year, you're no longer in extreme poverty. Now you're good, you're sorted, you're in the middle class, basically.
Yep, you're fine. $400 a year, enjoy it, guys. Because China's so cheap that you can live off of $400 a year.
Here's the thing, again, this is a rap. That's just attacking every single criticism, of the Chinese government, and they hit it on the nail. They're like, no more hating. Look how good we are. Oh, you say that, but no, we're not. You know, it's like,
it's unbelievable. Yeah. Just keep it going.
Yeah, okay.
The woman's she's terrible.
People start a new life, this China speed. Look at me. Everything not about money. Look at me. I see FIP.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now keep this in mind.
Sure.
The FYP14, you might be like, what the hell is that?
What's an FYP?
So far, they've been attacking all these criticisms of China, right?
Yeah.
This guy. Then he brings up FYP14. You're like, what the hell is an FYP14? Or is this an internet protocol?
I know, yeah,
protocol
exactly.
or something?
It's
Excuse
weird.
me. FYP14 is the 5-year plan.
Number 14.
Number 14. So you guys have to understand what a 5-year plan is. It's when the Communist Party of China comes together and makes ridiculous 5-year plans that have to be met. They're never not met.
Why do you think this poverty eradication thing happened? Because 5 years ago, they
said, we have to.
We will eradicate poverty in 5 years.
Right.
It's a 5-year plan. And you know what? Then they just forget about it. But then when those 5 years roll over, they have to say, oh, we achieved our goal. So that's all they did. Like, oh, no, there's no more extreme poverty now.
Correct.
Which is bollocks, okay?
But we're talking about a rap that's literally about a 5-year, the Chinese Communist Party's 5-year plan.
It's the most unsexy rap ever.
It is. Let's keep going.
Yes, go. People coming to Beijing. This is that. Look.
Oh, yeah. Wait, you see how it says, like, her name?
Yeah, it's ethnic Mongolian. They have to throw that in there.
And then China.
In China, yeah,
Yeah,
of course,
Mongolian,
because we
China.
own you.
Yeah. Ethnic
We own your
Mongolian,
ethnicity.
China. All right.
Do me. If ever bracing in. The time's moving and clock's ticking. Now have this thing, happy chains. Welcome to Beijing. Left wishes no gray. Smoke is cast away.
Smog is cast away.
Let's just cut through the shit here. Beijing is still incredibly polluted.
You know, well, not only that, but sandstorms and stuff.
Of course.
Too. Like today, my friend living in Beijing sent me a photo. It's horrendous. It looks like the apocalypse.
Sure. And
It's
we're not talking about the Darude song.
No, we're not. Sandstorm.
I wonder what's preferable.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, the fact of the matter is Beijing suffers terrible pollution every year. Sometimes it's good, sometimes, and it is improved. But it all depends, really. If they're going to have something, some
they can
big
make it
event,
go away.
They make it go away, but it's still
Smog
pretty
is cast
dire.
away.
It's pretty
They're
dire.
rapping about pollution.
Yeah.
Like they're up.
Exactly.
Sun shining, sets are pretty.
shining.
Let him defeat the city. It'll any pollution.
Yeah, ain't no pollution. Ooh, I wonder what this is over here. Is this our famous
vegetable garden?
dance? Could this be our vegetable dance?
Are there any token
people?
foreigners dancing with said vegetables with a party of some sort?
Climate change, big deal. Look how big China is.
China, the highest output of carbon, even when you add all the top countries together.
Yeah, low carbon China is real.
It's not.
Yeah, it's
It's
not.
not.
Just because you say it is, it's not. It still puts out the most carbon out of all the countries.
I was
you know?
originally just going to laugh at this. We're blow by blow just ripping this apart.
Yeah,
We'll
and-
just
yeah,
keep,
just
we'll
keep
keep
going.
doing it.
New pattern for development. Continuous
Guys,
globalization.
Yeah.
More room for investment.
More room for investment.
With innovation.
This song,
That's-
the music is terrible.
More room for investment with homegrown innovation. Okay,
course.
that's great. So,
Obviously, no more IP theft, though.
yeah.
That's good. That's good to know.
Green growth economy update. We do it right. The hate is gonna hate.
Oh my heart.
Yeah, I know. We do it right. We're going to innovate, but haters going to hate. It's like if I had to come up with a rap song, okay, and I was drunk. This is what I would come up with.
My poor heart.
Yeah, I know, it's so bad.
You see the different opportunities.
Oh, this guy, he's a
he's a
Uyghur.
Uyghur, yeah. Sardar Solomon,
China.
Uyghur, China. Yeah,
I think
let's
it's
see what he
Uyghur
is.
correctly. Isn't it Uyghur have an H?
There
does.
are a couple of different
There's lots of different
spellings.
spellings. You're right.
Yeah.
And possibilities, nothing can stop me from being who I really wanna be. Benefits from the
Being the
pop.
fact that you're a Uyghur.
Yeah.
And China's trying to stop your entire ethnicity.
Yeah, they've got him in Sanlitun in Beijing.
Yeah.
You know, there's that famous
He doesn't
place.
have to wear a mask like everyone else.
This is right where that French guy's wife got stabbed to
for
death
being a
because,
foreigner.
because she was with a foreigner. It's
Yeah.
right there. Great spot to choose. Want to show how friendly you are?
Honestly, every day is a holiday. Fight along with young people and earning the young money. Work hard, party harder is my new motto. Living in this era feels like winning.
Okay.
Living in a concentration camp feels like winning the lotto.
Living in
apparently.
this era feels like winning a lotto. I mean, I like the positive vibes that's
Yeah.
going on here. Nothing wrong with being positive, but this is a political
It's
rap
put out by the CCP.
that's saying you must say this.
And they picked minorities to do it.
Minorities have to, like you, Uyghur man.
You're gonna
You're coming
be
on
in
here
this
because
rap.
we know where your parents live. You know what I mean? You want to get them out of that concentration camp? Come on, let's do this.
I'm pretty sure I saw some Nikes in there, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Better censor those, China.
Oh,
Oh,
look.
gotta have some token
No,
minorities.
You know what it says right there? While Social Security is a finished
It's
battle.
done. It's done. Everyone has Social Security now.
China's got one of the worst social security, systems ever. We've talked about this before, but that's why China has such a tight-knit family unit, is because you cannot rely on the state. You do get good insurance for health. If you're like an old person or something, my wife being a doctor and all that, she would tell me all about this. And it costs peanuts. You can get pretty much anything done health-wise, go to the clinic and get like whatever little things done. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
But Social Security?
It's horrific. I did a whole video on it. The live chat's going ape right now. Do you know why?
Why?
Not only was there Nikes, there was an H&M sign in there.
Oh, there was an H&M. Yeah, of course there's H&M because it's Sunly Twin, and this was shot just before that nonsense kicked off.
Oh, they better go.
They better go and change it. Go and
They better go blur it.
But I just love the fact that there's like Social Security is a finished battle. It hasn't even started.
No, you gotta have a real Social Security. Don't worry, my friend.
And settle.
Yeah, made in China became old China made it.
Wait, made in China became China made it.
Yeah, it's saying like made in China. China already made it. Like it's already done.
Working so hard, but they keep on hating.
Working so hard, but they keep on hating.
This is the chorus.
Yeah, and then I love this plane that's made in China. It looks exactly like every other plane that was made previously that they copied. That's the thing. So yeah.
There's no need for wrong blaming. It's
Trailblazers, game changers.
Why does it face now? Talk about Botox.
Made in China now, become Chinese lead. Working hard, ain't no joke.
Ain't no joke, jealousy, no need. No. Yeah, so they're saying, look, China's great now. You're just jealous. Yeah.
This auto-tune and out-of-focus shit is bothering me. I guess they wanted the lens to focus on the Huawei, the failed pig farming company.
I know. Look, there's Huawei over there. AI 5G expertise.
But for real, though, like, can you get cringer than that? But if you want to Google something rich, Huawei, these sycophant CCP people are talking about how Huawei's amazing and they keep going to these Huawei events. Huawei's probably going to pull their entire smartphone line because they got so effed up from all of the stuff. But anyway,
possibly, yeah.
Huawei is moving some sectors into pig farming.
Yeah, Huawei's investing in pig farming. Yeah. That's fine. I mean, that's interesting.
I think it's funny.
Yeah. I feel like they're going to discontinue their Honor brand, probably not their full
not
smartphone
the whole thing.
lineup.
I should have said that.
But also, if you're doing a state-sponsored, let's do this rap music video. Let's get all the big guys, and we're going to make this right. Learn how to focus.
Yes.
Just like you said, it's not about focusing on the background, but like focus on the singer. It's very unprofessional.
Correct. People say G's?
Okay, yeah.
G's. Hey, Winston, say big data.
Big data.
G's. Jeez.
Yeah, no poverty for 1.4 billion, no kidding. There we have the 5-year plan 14 again.
You don't make a rap about the 5-year plan.
No, it's dumb. It's dumb. It's like, what do you call a tax form here in America? You got so many of them. What's like a 1098 or whatever you call it?
It's like a 1099 MISC
Let's rap about that.
W-2s coming in the mail.
1099, all signed and sent off to the IRS. It's like,
about to pop off.
Exactly.
Imagine that. Except that's even more relatable because everyone has to do their taxes. Yeah. This is about
5-year plans.
Google this MPC National Congress. Google MPC National Congress, and you'll see what a 5-year plan looks like.
Boring.
It's about 500 CCP officials sitting there falling asleep while Xi Jinping sits there like Jabba the Hutt, like nodding off in his fat fucking suit.
I know.
And he's sitting there, and then they go, we're going to do all this shit. No one pays attention to anything, and then they don't do any of it.
Yeah.
That's what they're rapping about right now.
Yeah, the 5-year plan 14. Let's continue. Yeah, I've been to there. Yo, what's up?
Drop the mic. Jeez. That's all I have to say is jeez.
Yeah, sorry to have to put you guys through that.
I saw some people that are they're ironically going to make that their ringtone. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Definitely spread the awareness of China's. I should make an entire video on every state-sponsored rap China's made.
Right.
To be honest, like that's right.
They're
up
just
my alley.
Hilarious. Yeah. You should. Being dabbled in rap yourself.
Having
back
dabbled
in the
a
day.
little bit.
Yeah.
I could. I missed my big ship to stardom by not joining the CGTN guys. It could have been featured in one of these things.
You could have been.
5-year plans. They also remember they did one about the THAAD missiles.
Yes, they do know about the THAAD missiles.
They were like, take down your THAAD missiles, South Korea. You're just like a puppet of the U.S. We'll kill you.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that absolute nonsense. Yes. Let's get some super chats and we'll move on to our main segment today, which is both hilarious and disturbing at the same time.
Yes. Jonathan Lau says, views on universal health care for the U.S. Now, this might be a controversial opinion, but one of the reasons that so many Americans have gotten vaccinated and many other countries like Canada have not is because of the discombobulated nature of not having universal health care. Yeah. Things are mobilized faster in a private economy. That being said, the vaccine has been paid for in a universal healthcare manner. So it's kind of a tricky...
Free. For those of you who are wondering...
It's a tricky one.
I got my shot. My wife's getting her shot in a couple of days. I think it's free.
I think the U.S. needs healthcare reform. How to do that, I'm not quite sure.
I think it needs to stop stealing my money that I have to pay every month for health insurance.
That's not the government. That's health insurance.
Same thing.
Yeah. Medrex03 says beer/car parts support. Keep it up, guys. Keith, thank you.
Thank you.
Petit says bonjour from Quebec. First time donator here. How are you guys both liking Final Fantasy 14? Which jobs did you both decide playing? Love you guys. Keep fighting. I want to say thank you for recommending it. I play it. Winston doesn't play it, but
no, I mean I've dabbled for a little bit, but sure.
I'm a massive fan. I play a black mage, and I'm currently level 41.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey,
massive achievement.
You play games, don't you?
I do. I do
Anyway,
play games all the time.
If look me up. I think you'll know what my name is if you know who I am. Yeah. V Diddy, how do you cope with the idea that you can likely never return to China? It's one of those things that we have to come to terms with mentally, and it does suck.
I'm very happy with that, and I'll tell you why I'm happy with that is because it's for the right reasons. If I can't return to a place because they're so insecure that a person on the internet cannot criticize the government and some of the policies, it's like, come on, all right? A Chinese person that has like a YouTube channel in China says, Trump sucks or whatever, he can still come to America. You know why?
All day.
Because it's not an insecure society.
No.
So if I can't go somewhere because I said that the government sucks, then I don't want to go to that place. It's that simple.
I agree.
That's not the society that you want to go and be a part of. I was a part of it for 14 years. I did everything to integrate into society there. And I realized it's just not possible because you're dealing with an immature, insecure society. And here's something else I want to bring up very quickly here. A lot of expats, people that have these dreams of going to China, right? They've maybe met some girl online, or maybe they went there for a little bit, or they want to work there or something like that. They have these dreams about going to China. And they hate us. And they hate us because they're like, you're making it difficult for us foreigners who want to go to China. People like you on the internet who criticize China make all foreigners look bad, and it's going to make it harder for us to get in there. And I say to these people, shut up, first of all, okay? How is it that one guy who's got nothing to do with you, a random individual who's putting out his own opinions and experiences on the internet, how is that affecting you? And you got to realize it's because China works that way, okay? And we've had this discussion a few times. Quite often you're in a small town in China, a new foreigner comes up there, and he runs a ruckus, he's a drunken fool, and everybody hates him. Everyone tries to stop him from doing this because he makes all the foreigners look bad, right?
Yeah.
He casts all the foreigners a bad light.
Yeah.
But the problem is you're looking at the wrong thing here. It's not the foreigner, it's the government and the society that cannot separate one foreigner from another.
Right.
That discriminates all foreigners, doesn't matter where you come from, what country, what background, but you're all lumped into one little thing. And that is so sensitive and insecure that they cannot see that this is a bad individual.
Right.
And just because there's this one stupid drunken individual causing a ruckus, it doesn't mean that him or me or John down the road who teaches English or whatever, it doesn't mean they're bad.
No.
But the stupid society and government that lumps all foreigners together, foreigners are bad, and start to mistreat foreigners. They're going to start checking on foreigners more. They're going to ramp up security. They're going to make all this other stuff happen. You have to ask yourself, Mr. I Dream of China, is that a society you want to be a part of? Right. Where the actions of some random piece of shit guy that you don't even know is going to reflect badly on you.
Right. And I wanted to add an addendum. I agree with that.
Sure.
Addendum just to say, well, personally, I miss China every single day. There's a difference between missing something and wanting positive change.
Yeah.
And saying, "Oh shit, I effed up. Now I can't go back because I'm doing what in my heart I feel to be the right thing by mitigating CCP influence in my own country and countries abroad." So you have to understand that what I believe I'm doing supersedes any selfish fantasy of me wanting to go drink cheap beer and travel around China.
Sure.
I think I'm doing the right thing, and if I hold those beliefs to be true, then that's going to supersede my want and need to live there.
Yeah.
I hope that
correct. Yeah, and for me, it's the same. Of course, I miss China. I miss my Chinese friends and family, and that's just a sacrifice I have to make because.
Yeah, I like that. Should be a whole topic at some point. These white knights that want to defend China. And if we criticize the CCP, even if they agree with us, we shouldn't be criticizing the CCP because then it makes their life more difficult in China. That's not my fucking problem.
No,
dude.
no.
You're going to have to deal with that yourself.
Yeah.
Look at yourself in the mirror and say, there's two guys on the internet pointing out human rights atrocities. You want me to whitewash my own opinion about that.
Just so that you can
go to China and the Chinese people don't judge you.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
You picked the wrong place then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Douglas says, tell kids not to listen to something.
Okay.
AJ says, Winston, I'd love to see a video about South Africa, specifically what life is really like there.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. Last time I went back to South Africa was 2008, just before the Olympics when they did their big visa crackdown. I had to go for a week. I was there for about 7 days. But of course, I lived there all up until I was 25 years old before I moved to China. So I can recount some of my old tales and things. But I haven't been there recently to give you any fresh updates.
Right.
Although, obviously, I have family living there and telling me stuff every day.
Right.
But yeah, I'll do it at some point.
Right. Yo Chimba says, hey guys, I live in a city, in the city in Sweden where I live. I saw a small gathering of Falun Gong people spreading awareness about the horrors of the CCP. As much as I would not practice Falun Gong, it's interesting to see. Stay awesome. And that's something where we will agree with Falun Gong people on. We may think that their religious practices are strange and look like a Windows 95.
I think that they're like, I put them in the same category as Falun Gong or Jehovah's Witness or any kind of like thing that let people do what they want, you know? I'm not a big fan of, I would never want to join them, but it's like, whatever.
I mean, and again, if they're criticizing the CCP, I'm totally game with that.
Sure.
I actually walked by some Falun Gong, one of those tents or whatever, and I refused their pamphlet or whatever, but I said, I think I said something like "screw the CCP" or something, and the guy says, "Oh, you know." He was like, he's funny.
Yeah.
Let's Play says, "Thank you for continuing to hurt the feelings of the CCP. Keep up the good work."
Don't worry, that's something we're very good at. Yeah.
Grant says, "Did you guys see the Asian guy who attacked an Asian woman because he thought she was white? Happened in Irvine. Don't let misguide you." I actually did not see that.
No.
That's strange. That's a very strange event.
It's a very strange thing, yeah.
Wing083, hasn't the snitching always been a thing? I knew people were going to say that, by the way. We're going to
get into it, don't worry.
I remember hearing about a Chinese college student who was studying abroad in the States. He posted negative comments about he returned to China 6 months in jail. Yes, and we're going to get into that. There's just the reason that we brought it up now. Nothing's changed. It's just that they've incentivized it and they've gotten worse because they're coming up at the 100th year anniversary of the CCP.
Sure.
And they're going ape right now. So they're setting up all kinds of portals to incentivize people to rat each other out.
Yeah,
we'll get into that. Which first, let's go into our next segment.
We're going into Soft Power Hour, and this is where we tell you how China is changing your mind, unbeknownst to you, usually through, I don't know, dastardly little means. And somebody that I just was introduced to on Twitter actually recently, her name is Kate Kui. I guess how it's pronounced. Her name's Kate. She works,
is that the CGTN woman?
Yeah, she works for CGTN. And the reason is I just could not show you guys this report. Okay, because there's a lot to unpack here. Let's just take a look. We're going to watch this.
Well, we have to set it up. So Kate is working for CGTN. Keep in mind, we always have to say this. People always say, well, I'd like to stay on top of the live chat. A lot of people, they don't understand what we're saying. So if you haven't been around since the beginning, CGTN, again, is the biggest media outlet of China.
Yeah, it's
in English.
International, the biggest international propaganda arm.
International, that's correct.
Of the Chinese government. And they do many different things, okay? They do travel shows, they do, opinion pieces, they do all sorts of things. But their main focus is to project their desired image of China to the West. That's what they do. And they go on there and they do some pretty disgusting things, which we'll see later on CGTN. Think of it like as if, I guess you could say, if the Republican Party had its own news channel.
Yeah,
or
like
the Democrat Party had its own news channel.
It's actually not. It's like if the federal government had its own news channel.
Had its own news channel. And they're only allowed to broadcast things that are approved by the federal government. Okay.
Cue all the people saying, "That's how it is, man. You don't understand." No. You don't.
You don't understand, man. Yeah. So
imagine just straight from Xi Jinping's mouth.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
So this interview, or this little piece that she did about 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, and basically it was when the whole Xinjiang forced labor, Xinjiang cotton thing was in the news, and people were talking about it more. And like we predicted, this stuff's dying down. You know, that's what happens with China. They make a big hoo-ha out of it, rile up the nationalism, get everyone to go out there and boycott stuff and tear things up and break things and whatever, and to show that China's not going to stand for this. And then it quietly goes away and people start buying those products again and stuff. It's kind of what's happening now.
So this is a China's correspondent, Kate, Q, I believe her name is.
Yeah.
Is it Q?
K-U-I, Quay.
K-U-I, Quay.
Yeah.
Okay, Quay.
I don't know.
So Kate Quay, they send her to Kashgar, one of the biggest cities in Xinjiang. They send her to the square, the public square. So every Chinese city has a public square in the middle where normal people would be milling about.
Yeah, it's the tourist
center of Kashgar.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is going to play a role. We're going to show you in a minute. Okay. So let's first of all take a look at this stellar report.
Yes. Let's see how she uncovers all of the forced labor and genocidal camps.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, Michelle, frankly speaking, not much, because I left no stone unturned, but still couldn't find any trace of genocide.
Yeah, guys.
Wow, you just went right into it. Good job. China always they're really new at journalism. They don't understand what impartial journalism is supposed to be. I don't know.
I don't even know what that was.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You just go right out there, guns a-blazing.
Yeah.
I left no stone unturned as I stand here in the center of Kashgar. Mm-hmm. No stone unturned. I have found no evidence of genocide.
Yeah.
Says Chinese state media in the center of Kashgar.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, can you tell people how big Xinjiang is?
It's the biggest province in China. It's about the size of Alaska.
Yeah, isn't it like 3 times the size of Germany and something
like that?
It's massive.
It's huge.
So you're telling me that this woman over here went around and turned all the stones over in Xinjiang to find forced labor and genocide. Don't you just love this on-the-nose stuff? This is, a government employee for a government state media going to a place to give the government's message.
Whose prerogative is to say that there's no genocide.
Yeah, exactly. I can't find any evidence of forced labor or genocide. I left no stone unturned here in Xinjiang. Okay, great.
It's like somebody that gassed to their family. Cops show up and you're the guy that did it. You gassed your whole family in the house and you say, I checked everywhere and
don't know.
I think they're still alive.
Yeah.
I checked. I asked them. And the cops are like, okay, that's cool.
Now, there's something else very important in the scene. I would like you to look to the left of her up there. There is a propaganda banner. Okay.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that later.
And I want you to memorize...
We managed to source it.
I would like you to memorize the architecture of that building and that propaganda banner. Just keep it in mind. Okay, so let's move on with her lovely report.
So I think what United States said in its human rights report saying that China has a genocide here was a total smear to China. And the reason why they said such...
You got that, right?
Yeah, we gotta do a little language lesson for people.
Smear.
So when there's spout and smear. These are 2 of the favorite Wumao words, and this is Wumao. Actually, Wumao's created the whole smear thing.
I think they did, yeah.
They would always say you're smearing China, you're smearing the Chinese government, and you'll see this all the time. This is just Wumao playbook. She's just being a little pink right now.
Yeah, totally.
Government employee.
So she's basically said what the Americans said about the genocide is just a smear on China.
I'm gonna call some bullshit right now.
Yeah, what's that?
You know how she said there's no stone left unturned? Those stones are all turned over. She did not turn those stones over.
No, she didn't.
Look at that.
Yeah. Let's continue.
It's probably they actually did that in their own history. And based on their own historical experiences with some imagination and association, they think one's economic development would have to be had at a cost of someone else or even sacrifice. Well, we still remember that in their history, they had inhumane treatment to black people under slavery system, as well as they killed numerous indigenous in Indiana. Indigenous.
Okay.
Whoa,
you messed that up.
Backtrack.
You messed that up.
Hold on. So you left no stone unturned. You didn't find genocide.
Nope.
There's no evidence of that as you stand in the tourist center of Kashgar.
Yeah.
And then you go to say that it's imaginary association. What is this? Imaginary association?
Just said they use some imagination because they're remembering their own history.
Because of black slavery in picking cotton. So black slavery is pertinent to today, what's happening in Xinjiang.
Yeah. This is what we call whataboutism, and this is something that the Wu Maos and the Chinese state do all the time. They're like, oh, you think we're doing something bad? Well, what about back in 1800s when you did this? Or what about this?
You know what? How I read that? Instead of saying, like, what they're trying to do is say, we're not doing it and you guys were worse anyway.
Yeah.
What I read this is you guys were bad back in the day, and also that means we can do it now. Yeah. That means we can have slavery now because you guys did it in the past.
Oh, and I love the fact that she messed up. Instead of saying Indian, she said Indiana.
Yeah, because she's memorized the script.
Yeah, she messed it up. So let's go back for that little quip because I think history needs to show.
Yes.
So let's put that in there.
In their history, they had inhumane treatment to black people under slavery system, as well as they killed numerous indigenous in Indiana indigenous people.
So apparently they killed Indiana indigenous people. When did that happen?
Sucks, dude. All those white people that moved to Indiana. What a genocide! It's terrible.
Poor old
poor Indianans. They're all their corn farmers.
Yeah, exactly.
Gosh darn it.
Okay, so again, this is the biggest bunch of shit. Every time you try to have an argument with a Chinese sycophant, a tanky, or anything like that, and you say, "Hey, look, China is doing X, Y, Z right now, and that's bad," they'll say, "Oh yeah. Well, what about America did this? What about slavery? What about racism?" And then they'll show you like some stock footage from 1963 or something about like Iran, or I don't know. It'll always be something that they call back. It's dumb. It's like, dude, you're murdering someone right now. It's like, oh yeah, well, your great grandfather murdered someone like 20 million years ago, so it's okay for me to murder someone right now. This whataboutism shit.
That's how I read it.
This whataboutism shit has to go. If anyone starts with whataboutism, you got to be like, no, what's happening now?
Poor
Let's talk about now, Indianans. Anyway, let's see what she has to say next.
Back then, so that's a massacre in the United States history, but that's definitely not what is happening in China.
Hold on, pause that.
Yeah.
Is that not just amazing?
Yeah.
Have you like whenever there's a meme or something like nothing to see here, that's definitely not what's happening here. Yeah. You can't say that as a journalist. A journalist says, I went to here, and from what I saw and the experts that I talked to, blah, blah, here's the sources, here's the citations, this is what we saw, here's evidence, here's footage, here's the documents, here's the interviews.
Yeah.
This is a woman standing in Kashgar going, that's definitely not what's happening here, guys.
Yes, I turned over every stone.
Trust me, bro.
JPEG. Exactly. America did genocide back in the, what she said, massacre.
Yeah.
Indianans.
About the indigenous Indianans.
Yeah, exactly. My word. And this, guys, this is top state media.
Yeah, this is
top level.
The top one.
This is such an immature government and such an immature state organ of the government, CGTN. Can you believe this? It's as if the White House press conference and the president walks out there and says this crap. You know? It's just, anyway.
Standing right in front of the ADVChina Mosque, which is one of the largest mosques in China and the largest in Xinjiang, is also a regular place for Uyghur people come to pray. I am also joined by a Uyghur gentleman.
Oh, that's convenient.
Please come here. And he's going to tell us his experience in Xinjiang, especially in Kashi, where he is from. 祖龙先生你好，我想问问看你啊，就是您在这个地方，你自己的这个宗教信仰和文化有没有得到尊重？
Yeah, I mean, look, we can just translate. She's basically like, oh, here in Xinjiang, what about your, like culture and religious stuff and all that? She's just like asking him, obviously, with the translator.
I wanted to point out the fact that they got the Uyghur man. It's like, let's go get a Uyghur man. pull him on screen and be like, see, there's Uyghurs here. I'm also going to be completely condescending and speak to him in a language that he doesn't understand.
Yeah.
And also, keep in mind, when I did my Xinjiang propaganda video, there was criticism that they're trying to eradicate the Uyghur language.
Right.
So they made sure to get someone to be able to reply in the Uyghur language.
This old man, this poor guy, looks so confused. Let's see what he says.
There's a translator here. So he said all his regular religious activities and his regular praise are undergoing regularly and being respected. So
hang on a second.
By the way, that's not what
was translated. She's just spitballing
That's
this.
incredible. Wait a minute. That's not what you're supposed to do when you translate. And there was nothing lost there because the guy replied to her in Mandarin.
Very clear.
More importantly, what kind of fucking conversation is this?
Yeah, I know.
What is this?
I know.
Sir, here where by the way, the Chinese government's destroyed thousands of your mosques, have put people in concentration camps for their religious beliefs, and because we don't like the way you look. I'd like to ask you, how is your regular religious practices? Mm-hmm. Are you going to your regular religious practices, and are they respected? Yes, they are. They're very much respected. Thank you for asking me this question.
Yes.
What is this?
It's nonsense. Let's let her finish her bullshit made up answer.
Michelle, you can see, with us is a very prosperous Arikan Square, and this is exactly what is happening in Kashgar. There's definitely no genocide, so to speak. So Michelle, back to you.
Is that not the best ending you've ever heard in your life?
Yeah.
There's no genocide, so to speak. Back to you.
Okay. I have to do an analogy here, okay?
Oh my gosh.
This is the tourist center, okay, of Kashgar. This is a tourist. It's kind of like I go to Disneyland, okay? Because that's a big tourist place. I'm just going to use Disneyland, okay? It could be any other big tourist place or Mount Rushmore or something, okay? So I go to this tourist place and I'm like, I heard there's gun violence here in America, but looking around, I've left no stone unturned. I cannot see a single gun. No one's been shot. So there's definitely no gun violence in the USA.
At Mount Rushmore,
yeah.
I'm standing.
Come on, guys. You could do better than this. But, it gets better. It gets much better.
Thank you so much for the...
I want you... Remember we told you to look at that particular banner. Now, this is from one of the shills who have gone to Xinjiang. We called it, remember? We were like, they're going to send the shills to Xinjiang and they're going to go and talk about how there's no forced labor. They're going to go do cotton stuff. They all end up in the same place. Okay?
So, yeah.
First of all, that is the exact same building that we saw in the background. The exact same banner that Kate Kyo was. This is now from one of the shill videos. Let's translate what it says up there.
That says 衷心感谢以习近平同志为核心的党中央的亲切关怀 sorry my tone's off 关怀 that basically means you can translate it.
It's something along the lines of I thank the party and especially the central foundation of the party, comrade Xi Jinping.
They actually use Xi Jinping 同志, like comrade Xi Jinping.
For, I guess, care, for such great care.
Yeah, so it's
kindness.
It more or less says, thank you for the translation. It more or less says, thank you to comrade Xi Jinping for caring about us so much.
Yes.
For your deepest love and care.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
that is, even for Chinese propaganda, very on the nose. That's extreme on the nose shit.
Yeah.
You don't throw around 同志 anymore. That word comrade, that's old school Mao stuff.
It actually means gay.
Well, that's slang.
In colloquial slang, it means gay. If you call someone 同志, it means they're gay.
Yeah. If you're like, 他是一个同志, that means he's a comrade. He's gay.
He is a gay.
He is a gay, as it would translate. Anyway, the translation of this is very on the nose to the point where it's like, you Xinjiang people are lucky. This is how it reads. You Xinjiang people are lucky that Xi Jinping is taking care of you. And we, as Xinjiang people, we thank you, dear comrade. So what I wanted to point out is, actually, because of all this hubbub, because there's so many eyes on Xinjiang right now, they've been sending reporters there. They're going to send the shills there.
Shills are going there, yeah.
And the reason that they send them to this square, they have this all set up for PR. Yeah. They got these banners up for the domestic populace because the domestic populace will read these in Chinese. Yeah. And they'll say, oh, the Xinjiang people, the Uyghur people are happy to have these concentration camps and vocational training set up. They've even set up, like from what we've seen, they've set up all kinds of things like where there's trained doves flying by.
They do that everywhere. Remember the Saint Sophia up in Harbin?
They do that as well.
They have like white doves, which they are trained. It's actually fascinating how they train them. I've watched them in the hutongs training them. It's kind of like these sticks with little frills on it or whatever. They train these doves to constantly fly around. And then they obviously land where they've been trained, and then they get up and they fly around again and again. So they have trained doves here to make it look all peaceful and nice. So, by the way, I have to put this out there. I have a challenge for all of you. In the description, do it later. Don't go away now. But in the description is a link to my Spot the Bird challenge.
Yes.
Okay. I have a 20-minute. It was shared on my Patreon, but we've got the link there for you. A 20-minute non-stop drone footage of Shenzhen, where I used to live, where I flew my drone out there. And the reason is it goes over. It's a really cool clip, which you probably want to see anyway. But it goes over some lakes and some greenway areas. But the most important thing is that it's right near a bird sanctuary in Hong Kong, the New Territories area. So there are some, like if you go across the border into Hong Kong, you can see birds, right? But my challenge to you is, can you spot any birds in China, in mainland China, in that 20-minute clip? Beautiful summer's day. We spotted one, okay? And that probably flew in from the bird sanctuary in Hong Kong.
So we've made a joke that there's no birds in China. And I mean, honestly, of course, birds exist in China. Yeah. But when we say there's no birds, you'll be hard pressed to find them outside of animal sanctuaries.
And that's why this is the Find the Bird Challenge. Go leave a comment on that video and tell me how many birds you managed to see.
Somebody once sent us a video.
Yeah.
We not like to not partake in this kind of stuff, but they pointed it out and they're like, someone's challenging your bird challenge.
Right.
And they sent one of those CCP shill guys, one of the Western YouTubers, white dude. Yeah. And he made a whole video and he's like, there's birds in China, you idiots. Like, how dare you do that? Yeah. In the whole video, there's no birds.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty funny.
Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so again.
So yeah, thank you, dear comrade Xi Jinping. Now, so they're going to be going to this square.
You can literally replace that and say, I thank the Nazi party and, the Führer Hitler for his kindness and care, and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. Think about it, man. It's as if you put up big banners here saying, I thank Trump, or I thank Biden, or I thank George Bush or whatever, and the Democrat Party for all the wealth and kindness that's been given to me. That's like put up and...
Like enforced.
Yeah. So that's on like the strip in Hollywood or something. Right. That's kind of what you're dealing with here.
Right.
Anyway, let's move on a little bit because things... You'll start to see some parallels.
When the shills go there to Xinjiang,
keep an eye out for this
You'll
square.
See this.
This major square. They'll all go there. Yeah.
So I want to teach you guys about something.
Yeah.
Winston and I were discussing this, and actually we're speaking to some other people about it as well. Yeah. There was a concentration camp in Nazi Germany. I believe it was in Czech Republic.
Right.
And Nazi Germany put this up as the Model Ghetto, basically. And we suspected this had happened. So what China's doing is they're going around to these areas that they set up, and we've seen it on Xinjiang News as well. They'll be like, we set up all these vocational schools for these Uyghurs. Look how life is so good.
Learning skills.
They're learning skills. This is how much food they get. Look at, they have nice crisp uniforms.
Yeah. They can play football.
They can play football. When we watched this stuff, we were like, this is so Nazi. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
And then we managed to find this really good parallel. Yeah. And this is a ghetto, I believe. Let me find the name of it. It's very hard to pronounce.
Like Tenzin or something?
Yeah, let's just call it Tenzin or something. Anyway, this Tenzin ghetto was set up by Hitler's Reich to be this model place to show how life was so good for the Jews there.
Yeah.
And there's so many freaking parallels. It's terrifying.
Well, we're going to show you a clip, and this is a Nazi propaganda film from 1944, so right near the end of the war. Okay, and this
Terezin.
It's Terezin. Okay, sorry, Terezin. Terezinstadt, right? It's supposed to be like a utopian city for the Jews or something like that. Okay. Now I want you to watch this because it's actually got an English voiceover. We're just going to play it clean, and we're going to meet you on the other side.
Alleinstehende Frauen und Mädchen machen es sich in ihrem Traumheim gemütlich.
In contrast to reality, the Nazi propaganda film of 1944 shows women being quartered in a residential hut. It does not show the horribly overfilled barracks and attics where most of the inmates lived, only those sleeping quarters specially prepared for the film. Instead of the omnipresent 3-tiered bunks, one sees only 2-tiered bunks. The top bed has been removed for the filming. Where in reality 20 people squatted round a table, were now sat only 6, apparently enjoying a life of leisure in the style of a feature movie. To make it all seem less overcrowded, the SS had created space by deporting several thousand inmates to Auschwitz. The film simply does not convey how the inmates really experienced life in these huts.
Yeah, so you can, if you can't draw parallels, you're a moron.
Yeah, I mean, it's right there, guys.
Yeah.
It's almost like the CCP has a playbook already. They do.
They do. They respect the Nazis. And
it's just so transparent.
From my own experience,
what happened to the Jews?
Yeah.
Dehumanized.
Yeah.
Segregated into ghettos. Mm-hmm. Put in vocational camps, where they're basically, we'll teach them skills so they can actually be a part of our pure society.
Yeah.
Started weeding them out, killing them, gassing them,
yeah.
shipping them away. Literally what's happening in China, save for the mass murder part. But we don't know what's next.
Yeah.
Number 2, we don't know. We don't know. We know that there's millions of people in these camps, and we know from evidence from people actually who have escaped, which is very rare, by the way, because it's such a surveillance state, that tell us the kind of forced sterilizations, rapes, and all this, and torture that goes on in here. Mm-hmm. It's like a 2021 version, except in China. That doesn't make it any better.
You also have to remember that the Nazis didn't actually exterminate the Jews until right at the end. And so, and now we're also dealing with wartime situations and things like that. Everything else that the Nazis did as far as the Jews are concerned is already happening or has happened when it comes to the Uyghurs in China.
That's a really good point, is that was at the end.
Yeah, that was when they just couldn't figure out what to do. They just kind of exhausted all their their things, and that's why they called it the final solution, to the Jewish problem. And that's, China may go down that route. We don't know.
I mean, they're on the right path.
Yeah.
They're on the right path. They're already dehumanizing and raping and ruining a culture and
sterilizing,
destroying it and
forced sterilization.
They're trying to remove a people group.
They are. They're trying to, basically make them part of the mainstream or get the fuck out, basically.
Right.
So let's go back to our little friend here, Katie Kui or Quay or whatever it is.
Quay, yeah. If that's how, I'm assuming if her name's in Chinese is Quay.
yeah. But then it would be spelt differently, wouldn't it?
No, that's
Quay. All right. So this little meme here, it's got a picture for those of you listening at home of Katie and a school child next to her looking at her in a very weird way. And it's got text on her saying, Chinese media talking about their Uyghur policy. And then on the kid, it's like, Uyghur kid who hasn't seen his parents for months.
Too dark, but also funny.
Another interesting thing is that Katie has
this is great. Did you spot this one?
Someone sent this to me. Katie has now removed CGTN Business News, CGTN from her Twitter profile, description. So previously it said, CGTN Business News anchor, writer, eat and read classical music. That's her thing, right? Joined in December of 2020. Okay, so I'm
gonna fact check now and see if she's updated even more while you read.
Okay, let's take a look. But her new Twitter profile just says business news anchor, writer, eat and read classical music. She's removed the CGTN from there. Now, I think that this is to prevent Twitter from...
Yeah, CGTN's gone.
I feel like she's done this to prevent Twitter from classifying her as, like state media. Like that's what happens when you are working for the state media, or it's like affiliated to the Chinese state media. It puts a little thing on you.
Now, what I want to say is... not the people, but let CGTN burn.
Yeah.
This is one of the most harmful things. And the reason I say this is that CGTN, being the propaganda arm of China, the reason they changed it from CCTV to CGTN is to trick people. Yeah. As Lila Farley said, China's main effort with soft power propaganda like this is to confuse people and make them just be like, I'm discombobulated, I don't understand what's going on, whatever. With CGTN, they did that because CCTV has a very negative terminology, right?
Because it's closed-circuit television.
Not only that, but when people,
they also, when they realize, it means surveillance cameras.
Yeah, okay? It's not good, right?
No, but people know CCTV is the Chinese state media.
It became a household name, so they switched it up, and they're like,
CGTN.
how can we do whatever? So when people send me, and the reason I say it's dangerous is that people that don't know any better will constantly send me messages and say, "Is this state media?" They're suspicious.
There's nothing. But
they don't know.
Than,
They don't know that it's even coming from China.
Right.
They brand their Instagram and all this kind of stuff, not even being necessarily on the nose pro-China. They sneak this stuff in here, and that's why you see like her removing it. It's because it's finally becoming a household name, being like, okay, it's those Nazis over there in this communist government. Finally,
anyone working for CGTN or doing anything with CGTN is just a horrible human being.
I mean, you're complicit in global misinformation campaign that's doing not only genocide denial, but trying to shape the entire world's narrative to allow the Chinese Communist Party into your own country.
Yes.
That's what it is.
So think about it. Are you happy, if you're going to do a travel show on CGTN, are you happy to be associated with genocide denial and, real bad propaganda? Because if the Nationalist Socialist Party in Germany, the Nazis, had their own state TV series or TV show or whatever you call it, what am I looking for? A TV station. If they had that and they putting all this like, the Jews aren't like that clip we saw. The Jews are really happy here.
Right.
And, Hitler is great and amazing and all this. And then on the side,
because the clip you just watched was from CGTN. Just keep that in mind with Kate Quay.
Yeah, that was from CGTN. But then on the side, they have we're going to visit the local beer halls to try out the beer. And you're like the host of the beer show. And you're like, German beer is amazing. But yet you're part of the same organization that is doing genocide denial and Hitler worship, or Schittler worship, as they say. Schittler, Xi Jinping worship and the Communist Party worship. You're part of that. Is that
it goes so much further than just the Xinjiang stuff, guys. Yeah. We're talking about a news company that's complicit in every human rights atrocity denial within China. Whether it's Han people or not, whether it's just lying, whether it's provoking nationalism, boycotts, violence.
You want to know how bad
I was going to do you one better. What? If you're not convinced yet that you shouldn't be working with or sponsoring or even consuming CGTN, look at this.
What is this that we have here? Simil, do you want to explain this?
So, CGTN is now under fire in a lot of different countries.
Right.
And I'll tell you why. It's because, and I kid you not, part of my language, they fucking put forced confessions on TV.
Yeah.
In Western outlets as well.
Sure.
For Chinese people, a lot of them political dissidents, by the way.
Yeah.
Where they get them on camera before they go to jail, or before they're executed, or before they're released on a plea bargain, so they can say, as long as you do this forced confession, right, about how they've reformed, about how all this kind of stuff. And they put a lot of these people on here who are just political prisoners.
Yeah.
There are obviously people that have committed crimes, but we're talking about people that have been unfairly prosecuted or persecuted for their political beliefs, right?
Yeah.
And then aired so that people can consume them abroad and watch. It's basically like confession porn of these people weeping and crying and saying how they're so sorry and how Xi Jinping's amazing and how China's so good.
Yeah, they made a mistake. They
made a mistake.
They do this in order to discourage dissidents abroad and stuff. And also, so if you've been on CGTN and you make your forced confession and then you get released and you manage to make your way to the West and now you're in Australia or you're in Canada or something and you're trying to raise awareness, then they just show this on the international news to say that person, look, they confessed to their crimes. They are actually a bad person. Don't listen to what they say. They suck. That's what they do this for.
So CGTN is getting countries to allow international broadcast of people having forced confessions to discourage people from speaking out against the Chinese government.
Yeah.
Your country potentially allows forced confessions of tortured Chinese people.
Yeah,
to discourage them
on TV.
Yes,
through CGTN
for mafia tactics. What government can sponsor forced confessions and then portray them on TV? And we've had this on YouTube. They've been doing this on YouTube with the Xinjiang people. But now, so let me read you an excerpt.
Yeah, please go ahead.
In recounting the torture and threats suffered at the hands of the Chinese regime, often with active collaboration of CGTN and CCTV's crew, with the sole scope of spreading fake news and instilling fear in the hearts of Chinese human rights community. That's what this is for. It's targeting the Chinese human rights community. Standing up for the rule of law and democratic values the address networks hold dear. The victims denounce how the burden lies heavily on their shoulders, as too many are still in the grasp of severe repression. I quote, "When torture did not work, threats to the loved ones were used to extract confessions." And these are confessions on CGTN. "One of us was shown a video of her teenage son being beaten up by police to force her to comply."
Yeah.
This is what they were doing. That's just one example.
Yeah.
There's a lot of these.
Yeah.
That's one example of what they did to get these confessions to go on TV to threaten human rights activists about China.
Yeah.
So that's the company we're talking about. When you see people collaborating with this company,
with CGTN,
you're collaborating. And I hate when people make equivalencies that are so drastic, but you're collaborating with modern day Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
You are.
Mm-hmm. So if you ever see a foreigner's face appear with a little CGTN logo anywhere on there, you know that person's a scumbag.
Whether they know it or not.
Yeah, they've got no morals. Anyway, our main topic of the show, which we haven't really addressed, by the way.
Well, I mean, this is all part of it.
It all boils down to the same thing really here, but is snitching. And you know what? This is big. China has, since the Cultural Revolution and, when the communists took over, always had this kind of snitch on your neighbor and you'll get rewarded type thing. If you suspect your neighbor is doing something that goes against the party or is saying like that Mao Zedong is bad or something, tell us about it and we will reward you. You will be a good little commie citizen. And they do that. Uh-huh. And they go and arrest you. People were ratting out their parents and their teachers and whatever else. A lot of the times they would do it falsely just because they would get something in return. They would get some kind of benefit, whether it means that they get more ration tickets or they get a higher position in the party or they get some kind of reward or a little badge or whatever. They would do this, right? It's been there since the commie days and it's come back in a big way. It's kind of always been there. We've seen a couple of resurgences here and there. I'm going to just quickly change a slide.
I want to point. Okay, you can.
Yeah, I just want to say this is the website that you go and report foreign spies, basically. If you suspect anyone of being a spy or, undermining national security, they've got a website here and you can anonymously report. And so this is the website that I've been reported on a lot, and you. And we know this because we've seen screenshots and forum discussions.
Them live.
Yeah, about them like, hey, we are reporting him right now. And then they put our names and the city we live in and, all this kind of information. People report us on this all the time as foreign spies. So this has been a thing in China for a long time. They were doing this years ago to us. But now this is the new, maybe you can explain what the new incentive is here.
So this is the Office of the Central Cyberspace Affairs Commission. So this is all about cybersecurity within China. Now, what you need to understand is that doesn't mean like keeping your data safe, because if you look up in the top left corner, all of China's websites for the government are not secure.
Yeah.
They have not figured out SSL yet.
Yeah, HTTPS isn't a thing. And I mean, don't forget the whole train system went down because Java kind of did an update. So
correct. So I just find it ironic that this is about cybersecurity, their website, and it's not secure. I always have to point that out. Mm-hmm. Now, what this actually means is the Office of Cybersecurity, as menacing as this looks, is always about promoting the ideology of the Communist Party and to make sure that people don't step out of line on the internet.
Yeah.
China has the biggest firewall in the world. It blocks 70% thereabouts of the internet.
Yeah.
Make sure that people aren't going, seeing things they're not supposed to and participating in dialogues they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I say this is because I went on here and looked at all these things. Half of this is about Xi Jinping thought, and the other half is about how to guide opinions correctly. Yeah. They don't even hide it. Like, I feel like intelligence here would be like, how do we guide the public opinion?
What are we going to do?
In China, they just put this is how we guide your opinion.
Yeah.
And that's literally what they say here. And what they've set up is a portal.
Yeah.
I mean, we've showed the website that set this up, but we're not going to show the portal because we don't want to inspire anyone to use it.
Nope.
The portal is a place where people can report other netizens. So this is not stuff that they see in real life. This is other stuff they see. And let me tell you the schematics here. They're incentivized to do this. I think there's a reward mechanism, but let me tell you the schematic for this.
Sure.
It says they've launched a hotline to report online comments that defame the ruling Communist Party and its history, vowing to crack down on historical nihilists. ahead of the party's 100th anniversary in July. The tip line allows people to report fellow netizens who distort the party's history, attack its leadership and policies, defame national heroes, and deny, and I quote, deny the excellence of advanced socialist culture online.
China, excellent culture, if you hear that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, there's some people that use that phrase out there. Yeah. You'll know.
Chinese excellent culture.
Chinese excellent culture. Mm-hmm. This is a quote. Some with ulterior motives have been spreading historically nihilistic misrepresentations online, maliciously distorting, denigrating, and negating the history of the party, said the notice. This is the notice on the website, by the way. We hope that the majority of internet users will actively play their part in supervising society and enthusiastically reporting harmful information.
There we go.
That's what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
We're bringing back Red Guard era China, Mao era China. And again, we're not being sensationalists here, guys. This is something that's already happened in Chinese history, and we're doing the online equivalent of that now.
I have to say to everyone out there who thinks that this is the way to go and that China's doing a good job and stuff, you're probably a person who's gone online and criticized Trump or criticized
whoever.
Biden, or I'm just saying, you probably have. Do you realize that this is not something that's possible in China? You cannot go online and criticize Xi Jinping or even dead leaders.
You'll go to jail.
You can't go and say Mao Zedong was a piece of shit.
No, that's illegal.
You may not do this. So if you're championing this system, look into yourself. Have you ever criticized the government of your country? Ever? Because if you have, shut the fuck up. You're a hypocrite. Okay? You cannot support this kind of system because this is not the kind of society you want to live in. If you cannot even criticize your own government without fear of being reported and detained and forced to make a confession or whatever else the crap they're going to end up doing to you, you know, it just doesn't make sense.
My message to cancel culture type snowflakes out there, and again, this is a message to you. You don't want to be in a system where this happens. I know it sounds like a wet dream right now, but imagine you're in servitude to a government that you hate.
Yes.
Right? So imagine that the person in office is the one that you hate.
Yeah.
And then you're in that government serving, you're in servitude to that and you can't do any of this stuff.
Sure.
It doesn't make any sense. It flies in the face of what your snowflake logic is, that you need your trigger warning before someone claps in your protests about communism or whatever the fuck
Jazz
you do.
hands, bro.
Jazz hands. When you're in your like socialist party, like workers of communism university meeting, and you need someone to apologize for using the wrong pronoun, you understand that the system that you're subscribing to and championing for China is your fucking nightmare, dude.
It is.
They will treat you like a piece of shit. They don't care about your fucking pronouns. They don't give a shit about any of this stuff.
No, none of that.
This is a nightmare. And this is the nightmare that you're championing.
Yeah. So
right.
Just when we say that China's going thermonuclear with snitching, it means they're encouraging it in a thermonuclear way.
Right.
Okay. It's like now it's you snitch, you get rewards. And so people have to be more paranoid. And you know what? That really breaks down society and it sucks because now I can't even talk to a lot of my Chinese friends because they're too worried that someone's going to see that we've spoken about something and it's going to affect them in a negative way. And it really can. And it's bloody horrible, you know?
Correct.
Anyway, it's time for us to do some super chats. What do you reckon, eh?
Okay.
Let's do a couple of those and then we'll move on to our final segment of the show.
Yes. Bilbo Baggins, a huge fan, by the way. I'm a huge fan of you. Okay. Hey guys, sending a super chat that is overdue. Your early heads up on COVID helped me to quarantine early before my area became a hotspot, Texas.
Oh, thanks.
As I was born with respiratory issues, your warning probably helped save my life. Thanks, guys.
Fantastic.
I really appreciate that. Makes my day.
Yeah, thank you so much
appreciate
for that. Yeah.
It's something we wish we were wrong about, but unfortunately,
here I'm feeling all groggy from a vaccine, but you know.
Yeah.
Who knew it would reach this point?
Who knew? Iron Nick found my way to you guys in December 2019. About time I paid up.
Thank you.
China's working so hard, but y'all hating. Thank you. I appreciate it. Iron Neck, keep that song alive.
Yeah.
Some of their best work.
No,
Matthew Booth, this is going to be my new ringtone. That's awesome.
Yeah. Jonathan
Cabanas, hey guys, love both your shows very much. What sources do you recommend using to show China's financial inequality?
It's tough because all the state media coming out of China is so biased and so untrue and so difficult. It's so opaque as well. So the only thing you can really do
It's anecdotal for us. I mean, we see it.
We saw it, okay? And we've seen so much of it. We still see it through, other sources that we have there. But the fact of the matter is, it's something you have to see. And that's the thing. If you watched our ADVChina...
I have some advice.
Monday,
yeah, go ahead.
If you saw our ADVChina, you will see that's what we were riding through. That's what we saw. And we can translate the messages and stuff. But... at the exact same time that we did that, you would never see anything like that in the news or broadcast to the rest of the world. All you see are fancy skyscrapers, the Bund of Shanghai, the Beijing, Forbidden City. You see all the beautiful skyscrapers. You see all the culture. But you don't see that because China doesn't want anyone to see that. It's kind of a secret, like it's just an inconvenient truth of how China really is.
Correct. And here's the deal. Is there is a little bit of transparency you can do. When we do this lore for these like places that we were riding through, I find the local government websites, and I'm talking about local government websites. And what you can do is they post notices up there, and they're a lot more telling, not because they're trying to be transparent, but they're a lot more telling than what the central government is going to be saying, because they're reporting internally. Yeah. It's not meant for like everyone to see, but you can see them, and they'll say like, our goal is to hit this target and whatever, and it reads a lot lower than what you'd see the central government saying. So there's stuff you can see.
Yeah, that's true.
Grant, thoughts on the USA rejoining the UNHRC? Well, best of luck.
Yeah.
V. Diddy.
It's a mess.
Just imagining a lowrider with a deep bass bumping this on the streets of Chongqing. Yeah. The ironic thing is no one in China is going to be listening to this.
No, it's not.
They're cringing
at
their own people.
Yeah, it's rubbish.
Iron Nick G's. He said G's. Yeah. Everyone says G's.
Yeah.
Derek Coxton says boobies.
Okay.
Wing Zero says... Wing 083, even the Cars for Kids commercial jingle is better than this rap. Now that's a stretch.
No, I think it is. I think it is.
1-800 Cars for Kids. No.
Yeah, I'd rather listen to that on blast in my car than the freaking,
you haven't been here long enough.
5-year plan, FYP 14.
Fair enough. Hontus Farmer says the irony of using a very African-American art form for the propaganda. Our culture is real and powerful. Keep up the good work. And that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
It's something that China won't admit. I mean, the Chinese government hates black people, if I'm totally honest. It's very unfortunate. That's why they have to pump out this whole, like, we're blessing Africa with our investment projects.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. They think of Africans as lesser human beings.
They absolutely do. It's unfortunate, and
not Chinese people necessarily, but the government.
Chinese government. The way they treat Africa is appalling. And that's just, I've talked about it in the past. I'll talk about it more in the past. I am African after all. So, I can say that. I'm an African minority.
Still got to go into a bar and say that to people. Well, I bet you $100.
I did say that when I went to the African barbers.
Oh, you went to he went to a black neighborhood and got a.
It was the best haircut I've ever had.
It was a good haircut. It was called Ice Cuts with a Z.
Yeah, it was like ice cuts, and it had like diamonds and stuff on the menu.
And they all looked at you like, "What the hell are you doing in here?"
Well, what I actually said to them is, I said, "I bet you I'm more African than you are." And they got like a little bit tense, and I pulled out my South African passport, and they all had a laugh.
And you guys all had a good time. That's what's great about America.
Yeah, absolutely.
In hot
best
water.
haircut ever.
We can recommend Ice Cuts with a Z.
Yeah.
Wherever the hell you are.
It was just out of Vegas somewhere.
Oh, okay. In hot water, saw Wolf Warrior, so hilarious. Do a commentary, please. We should, but we just get busted for copyright.
Yeah, we would.
Do one more. Sean Rice, Laowhy86. That's not the government. That's health insurance. SerpentZA, same thing. Okay, whatever.
Well, when it's mandatory or whatever, it's like paying taxes. You got to do it,
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we were disagreeing there. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing.
Now we're going to move on to Worldview, everyone, where we talk about everything happening in the world, but specifically to do with China. And I just got to say, Australia. Let's play a little clip from an interesting little group of Australian, I should say immigrants.
You have to set this up for me, because I don't want to, if people are just hanging out singing commie songs, that's whatever.
No, okay, we'll take a look.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get out of there. I'm just saying, okay, Australia, you're allowing them to have like the ex-military communist alumni hang out there and dress up in military uniforms and have their slogans.
That's freedom. That's freedom, bro.
Yeah, I know, but it's
freedom even if you hate it.
Yeah, I that's a good argument, but at the same time, I just don't see that happening in China. You couldn't have but we
shouldn't act like China.
No,
that's the difference.
But I also feel like that's pretty just disrespectful in so many ways. It's kind of like the Nazis having a reunion in Israel.
Sure.
Like ex-Nazi.
Agree to that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like ex-Nazi SS guys getting together wearing their uniforms, cooking strudel or something over there and reminiscing the good old days of Nazism. That's what's going on here, but it's in Australia. I think
it's tasteless because of the threats the Communist Party of China is giving to Australia, literally treating them like gum on the shoe as a quote.
Yeah.
You are the gum on the bottom of our shoe.
I'm just saying, like, you know, it's not like it's illegal or anything, but it's in very poor taste, and I don't see why this kind of thing is just happening. To me, it's just absurd.
I think it shows the comfort level that the CCP has achieved in some countries.
Well, I mean, they do have the Chinese flag going up over police stations.
Ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, this is Australia. Australia, get your ducks in a row. Maybe discourage this kind of thing from happening somehow. I don't know. I mean,
maybe do a little better with integration.
Yeah, maybe be like, you know what, maybe you shouldn't be, what do you call that? Impersonating a soldier, a military, you know, guy.
They literally have propaganda banners saying it.
They have propaganda
banners? I think it's horrible, but it should be in everyone's right to do so.
Okay. I mean, sure. I'm not going to say that they don't have the right to do that.
Sure.
I'm just saying it's freaking absurd.
It's absurd.
It's in poor taste.
I agree.
You know, and again, Australia, maybe you got to look at what you're doing there. Just like, you know, maybe you should try to understand that China does treat you as just like their backyard, basically.
True.
You know, that's kind of where I'm going with this. Okay, now something that's just a bit... Sorry. It's got to be dumplings.
That is something.
Well, you know,
they're making dumplings.
Yeah, Baoing Jiaozi, it's something you do New Year and stuff. I love dumplings, by the way. There's nothing wrong with that. Singing like communist red songs.
The thing is, if you're celebrating Chinese New Year or Chinese holiday or just Chinese culture in general, if they're dressing up in Chinese garb and singing Chinese, I have no problem with that. But that was explicitly government promotion.
Sure.
You know, that's not Chinese culture.
No. Okay, so guys, now this is a little bit more interesting. Okay, I'd like us to take a look at this email that was sent to a journalist.
Yes.
Okay, and who is it from?
This is from the Chinese embassy in Sweden.
So he's a Swedish journalist. Let's rewind a little bit. This guy, he's based in Taiwan right now. Okay,
yes.
He is a Swedish journalist. Okay, who talks about issues to do with China. Now he lived in China.
The sweetest journalist.
Stop. Okay, and he lived in China for a number of years, and this is what the embassy in his own country sent him. Let's take a look. What does it say? Can you maybe read that?
Sure. I can't really pronounce his name. Joji, maybe? Mr. Joji Olsen. Mm-hmm. You have long been colluding with Taiwan separatists. And again, I really have to you said this, but I have to say it again. This is sent to him in his own country.
Yeah,
in Sweden.
From the embassy in his own country.
Right.
Yeah.
You've long been colluding with Taiwan separatists. Oh my gosh. Fabricating fake news to smear China.
Smear.
Gotta have that word. Bing, bing, bing. Making extreme anti-China comments, spreading disinformation to provoke anti-China sentiments, and sabotaging China-Sweden friendship. Your words and actions are against the trend of history and the aspirations of the two peoples for friendship and cooperation, and you are bound to fail. Years back, you obtained a visa to China by claiming you are coming to China for travel and education, but you are in fact in China for illegal journalistic activities. The biggest oxymoron I've ever heard in my life. What journalism should be illegal? Think about it.
Well, I mean, on top of that, what about all the shills that go around and do journalist stuff? They're on
they don't have journalist
They're on
visas.
spousal visas. Yep. They're on business visas, work
When
visas.
you see Western white YouTubers walking around China doing journalism for the Chinese government, they're not on journalist visas.
No, they don't have journalist visas. Yeah.
Which is despicable and fully exposes your dishonesty. You have not been in China for more than 5 years, and you have never lived in Beijing for an extended period of time. Yet you put up a sign in Beijing and claim to be a China expert, though you are completely the opposite, which proves, this is a run-on sentence of note, which proves the falsity of your comments. It has also come to our attention that you set up a website for your anti-China articles in an attempt to continue to deceive the Swedish public under a new look, which reveals your moral corruption and how low you would go for the smear campaign. We ask you to immediately stop the wrongful actions. Otherwise, you eventually will face the consequences of your own actions.
Chinese embassy in Sweden. It's even signed. So The Chinese embassy is threatening him. Stop, or you will face consequences. I love the fact that they're like, you didn't live in Beijing for long. Oh yeah, that's because you're monitoring him all the time, right? Okay? They make up this shit. And this is what I love, is they're like, you say you are a China expert, but you're not, so there.
Right.
It's like, okay, how do you get to gauge whether or not the guy knows China well?
Oh, because it doesn't matter. The Chinese government dictates that.
Yeah, they say whether or not you are qualified to an opinion. It's like the Wu Maos all the time. They go after us. They're always like, oh, you don't know China. You can't say. It's like, shut up. We know China better than you do, obviously. If you can't, because they can never attack what you're saying, the argument. They can never attack the evidence that you put forth. It's always like, oh, you just don't understand it. Shut up. Like, you're not Chinese. But again, here's an official. This clownish government. This government is so immature. They are threatening journalists, but they're threatening journalists from their own countries.
Yes, not from China. From their office in Sweden.
Yeah, so they're sending this to a Swedish reporter, threatening him.
My message to Sweden, and I hope you're listening, Sweden. You're a dear friend of mine. I spent a lot of time in Sweden, and I must say it's a beautiful country, and I think it's a fair country. And if you don't do something about this, if you don't kick this motherfucker out of your country, you have failed the Western world.
Yeah.
Because you have the Chinese embassy responsible for threatening your own citizens on your own soil.
Yeah, I know.
It's one thing if the CCP is threatening us from China. The moment it starts happening from within the U.S. government's like confines of embassies is the moment I'm going to kick up a gosh darn storm.
Yeah.
And you have to do something. You have to protect your citizens from stuff like this.
Yeah, you do.
It's outlandish.
It is. It's a threat right there. I mean, I'm just going to read that last part again. It says, we ask you to immediately stop the wrongful actions. Otherwise, you eventually will face the consequences of your own actions. That is a threat. It's not veiled. That's just a threat.
No. What is the consequence, China? Tell us.
Yeah. What are the consequences?
What's the consequence? Please tell us. We'd like to talk to him if you're watching. He probably knows who we are. We'd like to know what happened after this.
Yeah. We're talking about the journalists, not the...
Obviously.
Not
well,
the
if they want to reach
Swedish.
out as well, please.
It's ridiculous, you know? It's just, I don't even know how to explain how ridiculous that is. It's like someone in the U.S. Embassy in China. There's like a Chinese guy who in China says that, I don't know, America sucks or whatever. And it's the U.S. Embassy sending him threatening emails. You better stop what you're doing or you're going to face the consequences.
Yes.
While in China, in his own country.
Right.
You know? It's bizarre.
Yes.
How is this stupid government taken seriously by anyone?
How is anyone even allowing diplomatic relationships at this point? This is what they've shown themselves to be now, guys.
Yeah, it's this wolf warrior nonsense. This should have repercussions.
Yeah, don't be a coward.
Yeah.
Swedish government, do something about this, and it's not tit for tat.
No,
be diplomatic about it. Do something about it.
This is not diplomacy.
No.
This is thuggery right here. So we thought we'd show you that because that's just showing again what we're dealing with here, guys. The level that the Chinese government will stoop to. But here's a little bit of positive news. Okay, something to brighten your day.
Positive news. Well, I guess it's...
Yeah. Something to brighten your day.
So,
and that is that China finally admitted to something.
Well, kind of.
They kind of did. They made a mistake. They admitted to something they didn't want to, and they had to walk it back.
Yeah, the head of disease control in China, and this is one thing, again, I want to be wrong about.
Sure.
We hope that everyone gets through COVID. We hope that the vaccines work throughout the world. I mean, China was the first country to say, let's not politicize this, and let's make sure everybody gets vaccinated.
They were the first country to politicize it.
They were the first country to politicize it and then ban any foreigner from going unless they got the Chinese
You're not allowed to go
vaccine.
into China unless you get the Sinovac vaccine, and that's the stupid thing is you can have a Pfizer vaccine, you can be vaccinated, but you still can't go in unless you get the Sinovac one too.
They might change that, but it doesn't matter because what happened was the head of disease control, they looked at the hard data and they said, listen, the facts are in. When we gave the vaccines to Brazil, we're looking at an efficacy rate of as low as 50%.
Sure.
Right, and that's state figures as well. That's what China reported back to us.
Yeah.
So we can almost assume, and again, not to be a Debbie Downer, but even less than that for efficacy. Now, to get herd immunity, you need between 60 and 70%, I believe, of vaccination rate, successful vaccination rate.
Right.
And with the vaccine you just took, we're looking at 95 percent immunity. So you're looking at countries that are using proper vaccines that did proper scientific research, have good scientific research behind them. that are successfully vaccinating the populace and getting this under control.
Sure.
We're seeing numbers tank right now in the U.S. Yeah. You look at China, who did completely make this a political issue.
Absolutely.
And this happens in China sometimes. You'll have scientists that are non-political, right?
Right.
China has to make it political. They made him step back after he said, listen, this is what he said, we're probably going to have to mix some people will use the Sinovac vaccine, the Chinese one. Some people will use the Western vaccines. Yeah. That's just the only way we're going to get past this. He was just being honest.
Yeah, sure.
They made him backtrack. He said, no, that's taken out of context. What I'm saying is the Chinese vaccines are good. So that's not really what I meant. Right. And he had to basically backtrack because China got mad at him for saying this.
Yeah.
China's goal is to get a ton of countries, just like the Belt and Road Project, to be indebted to them. Yes. So you saved us from COVID. You gave us COVID, but you saved us from COVID with your shit vaccine.
Yeah.
They don't want the data out there. They don't want the efficacy rates out there because they want China to be the hero. And right now, in the beginning, it looked like China was going to successfully brainwash the entire world into thinking not only did COVID not come from China, but also they cured the world of it.
Sure.
To now where I'd say the majority of the world hates China's guts right now and absolutely despises the Chinese government's response in the beginning of the pandemic and now how it's handling it with vaccines. Sure. So it's good news in that the truth came out briefly.
Sure.
And that maybe there will be a more comprehensive approach.
I mean, here's the thing. It's also going to dock a lot of the trust that a lot of developing countries have in China, because what they've done is they've kind of promised, and this is the crazy thing, is that they've sent more vaccines out of China than they've given to their own local populace, because they want this to be a political thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of African countries and all over the world have received, batches of vaccines. Strangely enough, no country that has ever recognizes Taiwan has gotten vaccines, obviously, or any kind of country that has any kind of political issue with China. They don't receive anything, of course. But, all the ones that are in bed with China, they get some vaccines. But the thing is, and what the local Chinese people don't realize, is that Chinese government is prioritizing sending vaccines abroad rather than giving them to the local populace. And now that's something that I think China doesn't really want people to wake up to, is that the government cares less about its own people than it does about its diplomatic image. And when you look at places like the US now, they are taking care of home first and moving, out from there, rather than,
as you do.
Yeah, rather than like, oh, let's give away all our vaccines to the rest of the world, so that we have none, because we don't care about our own populace.
Right. Right. So I mean, when that kind of news leaks out to the Chinese populace, it's going to look pretty bad.
Sure.
Obviously they're suppressing that violently. Not violently, but like viciously, I should say.
Viciously is the correct word. Well, I mean, that's pretty much it now. We're going to move on to our final segment of the show, of course, which is questions and answers, where we answer your questions and you question our answers.
JC Denton says, paying ad block penance to this channel. I've watched all your videos and documentaries. Thank you for the great content. And thank you.
Really appreciate that.
Barrier Finn, stop still humming that rap song. CCP knows their propaganda. It didn't stick with me at all. Could you remember it?
No,
it's terrible.
I remember the Belt and Road one.
Barrel
Roll, just because it's so bad in the audio.
Barrel.
It's bad. It's bad.
I actually have a comment on there as the top voted comment. I forgot I posted it. It was years ago.
Right.
Years ago I posted it. Maybe even when I was still in China. I wrote that like I died or something. And everyone's like, holy shit, it's you.
Yeah.
Canadian Greg, I dream of China, you hating haters.
Okay, yeah.
Chad S says, idea for a new TV channel in China. Yo, CCP raps with Jis and Zheng. Henan Ren will love this. Huh? I feel like only Henan people would listen to state rap.
Maybe.
They're the most nationalists.
Yeah, that's true.
Horror Wellston. Hey, badass super duper power duo of doom. Do you think it's possible to spam these snitch hotlines to waste their time and resources?
Unfortunately, no, because they're very well kitted out. Don't forget, there's no shortage of labor in China, and so you will have lots of people manning the phones because everybody needs a job. And it's interesting. It's developed a lot of interesting things. Like, I've got footage, which I'll show sometime. Instead of getting prefab concrete, what do you call it, like a pipe, to put in for manholes, they would rather get people to sit there and by hand build it by bricks, because they've got the labor. It actually costs them less to get someone to build by hand the whole like manhole enclosure rather than to get a prefabricated thing, deliver it, and put it in the ground.
Yeah.
So
Dave says, been watching you guys for years. You've slowly become more red-pilled over the years. Great to see. I would disagree with that. Say we're truth-pilled. And we're impartial to many things because we're focusing on China's influence.
I was red pilled before red pills even existed. You know?
Yes. But we don't have a political angle to our channel. Despite what you might laugh when I say that, we don't have a political angle to our channel.
No, we just follow our own. We're actually very different politically, which we've said before.
Very much.
And it's
me and him is what he's saying, not me and you.
Yeah. The whole thing is that we have one common thing, and that is our love for China and the Chinese people, and also our disdain for what the CCP is getting away with.
Right.
And we attack this from a moral standpoint.
Yes.
It's not being paid. It's not about the money
that
we get accused of all the time. It's very, very straightforward. I still am flabbergasted by how little the rest of the world understands about China.
Yeah.
And so when we see these ridiculous things that we share with you here, for us, it's just, we see these things and we're like, how is anyone taking this seriously? But most people don't even seem to realize it. And that's because they lack the experience. And they lack the insight into the culture. They haven't lived there and absorbed the culture of China as much as we have. And so that's why we do what we do, because we want to lift the wool off of people's eyes and let people see what's actually going on and what the Chinese government is actually doing to the rest of the world and to you. So I hope you find some value in what we do here.
Correct. Mikhail Baishani, or Bashni, says, close friends that day will be enemies to each other, except for the righteous.
Okay, sounds like a poem.
Tommy Key 07 says, is there a way to send anti-Communist Party messages to recipients in the PRC that circumvents their internet firewalls and state-run media? I would be interested in contributing to such efforts. I mean, they can receive email, but we're not telling people to do anything.
Yeah, it's a tough one because especially things like WeChat, are monitored for specific keywords and stuff. So if you're going to have any kind of conversation along those lines, you got to be very careful.
Right. Alex Payne, thank you. Tomas Aguias. Vicky Xu was on Australian ABC Q&A last night. Great episode worth a watch. When are you having Drew Pavlo on? Yeah. We're going to have him on a different show, which we'll tell you about in the future.
We'll tell you about soon. But yeah, everybody should go follow Vicky Xu on Twitter and give her some support. Like we said last time, she's under fire at the moment, and she's one of the very rare Chinese citizens who are willing to stand up for their morals. And I'm not saying Chinese people don't stand up for their morals. I'm saying, but deal with the very difficult consequences that come along with that. Because, her family is already under fire, and her friends and everyone associated with her in China is now under fire. And that's how they control you. And it takes a very strong-willed person to be able to see that happening around them and not shut up. So that's why you should support her, because she's quite rare. So please go.
I agree. Absolutely. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Carlson Coy, hey Winston and C-Milk, what would you recommend I do if my Chinese girlfriend's father and I keep getting into loggerheads due to his fervent pro-CCP stance? I wish to get along with him as family. You're not going to change parents-in-law.
No, unfortunately. Depends. If you're in China on their home turf, just don't bring it up.
No.
Just don't bring it up. And if you're in your own country, you could troll him and play Tiananmen Square documentaries on the TV in the background all the time until his head explodes. But that's just, it's up to you. But honestly, you're not going to change that kind of person's mind. It's serious indoctrination, and if you want a happy life, you just avoid the subject. That's all I've found. It's the best thing to do. When they bring up politics, you just ignore it and just talk about something else.
That's right. Robert Appleby says, thought I'd tell you, UK is doing COVID trials on kids, something you don't agree with in China. Interesting. Really
I don't agree with that at all.
I completely disagree with that.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling there's more to that.
Yeah, I feel like it's not just a tit for tat thing. We'll take a look.
Panama Chung. No, it's almost impossible to get a non-English teacher job in Asia, but any tips on getting IT jobs in Asia? If you know anyone that does that over there, I know you studied at Laowhy86 Wednesday. No, please watch our video. You're talking about Asia in general. Sorry.
Yeah. It's still not going to happen. Language
probably
barrier.
Not.
You have to realize that all the operating systems, everything's in a different language, like in Chinese or Japanese. You have to be fluent in the language to even consider entering.
And then why would they hire someone that's not?
And they won't, because to hire a programmer or an IT technician or something in China is dirt cheap. It costs nothing. They can, a guy will come in and fix your computer, for instance. And I know this because, this is my profession. a guy will come in and fix your computer and all your network problems and do it for like $5. So you cannot compete with that. It's just not possible. And
you can work for a Western company or foreign company that operates within that country, though.
Sure. If you're very specialist or,
And when you're looking for jobs, just look for jobs that operate in Japan or Thailand or wherever you're going.
Yeah.
The Andean Gull, hi from Ecuador. We just had elections and prevented an ANC-like party that openly said they were going to enslave us to China from returning to power.
Very good.
If that's the case, very good. I don't know anything about Ecuadorian politics.
I know that song, Ecuador,
You played that for me. I had no idea what that was.
That was like huge in South Africa. I don't know, in the late 90s or early 2000s, like a horrible techno song or something. It was
real bad, I'll tell you that.
It's pretty bad, but look up Ecuador, the music video, if you want to have a laugh. Country sounds nice.
The Tiananmen Massacre says, Tiananmen Square Massacre says, China trying to invade Taiwan is like an abusive parent forcefully retrieving a runaway child who escaped from abuses a long time ago and is living a great new prosperous life to profit from the child. Yes.
Yep. That's a very good analogy.
That's actually, I'm going to use that.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Jonathan Case, I remember 5-year plans being in the novel 1984. And you're absolutely correct. That's exactly what China does.
Yep.
Ivan Nieves says, funniest song is the Internet Security Agency song. That is definitely
that's
out
a good
there.
one.
I don't think that's a rap, though.
No, it's not. But it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it is, yeah. J. Leo, have you guys been to Cuba? No. I've been there in 2016 on a foreign passport. Went to Havana, Vinales, Cienfuegos, Trinidad, and Santa Clara. I recommend it if you guys have foreign
I have a South African passport.
He can go, so I cannot go.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to Cuba that much.
I've drank a bunch of Cuba Libres.
And the reason I say that, I would like to see any country. It's always on my list. But Cuba, there's too many remnants of communism that make me uncomfortable.
Okay. I got you.
I would go there. I would. But not on my top list.
I think it'd be an interesting ADVChina for us to go right around there if we could.
J-Man Nice Guy 1492. My Chinese girlfriend and I like C-Milk's last video about cheating. But my girlfriend wanted to add that emotional maturity is low with Chinese people at home and abroad. My girlfriend's friend is 32 and has 2 kids with 2 different guys, never married and still parties. Yes, emotional maturity is very low.
It is low, definitely.
In general. Canadian Greg, update on Jack Ma or other disappeared business execs. Actually, that definitely we need to bring that up because of something that happened with him.
Yeah.
Hong Kong, Taiwan, mainland tension. Cheers, friends. Next week we're talking about Taiwanese.
Yeah.
In particular, Taiwanese tensions.
Yeah.
Sir Anthony, people saying CNN is like CCTV are idiots, and I totally agree with you. You can hate CNN all you want. I, in particular, don't like CNN at all.
No.
If you're comparing it to CGTN or CCTV, you need to do a reality check and please look in the mirror and stop making equivalencies because you're a spoiled brat that has it way better than you think you do.
Yeah, it's a government-controlled media. Okay, it's literally the Chinese, Xi Jinping, and all the top guys say, this is what everybody must say, and then CGTN says that. There's nothing in between. There's no debate. There's no checking or balanced anything. It's like, this is the way it is, okay? And there's nothing to compete with it either. You don't have a Fox News to counter CNN in China. You only
or the thousands of other news outlets.
Yeah, you only have one state mouthpiece.
Yes. Derek Coxon, say my naughty words as I paid. By the way, please make short videos that are to the point. That is what our channels are for. Yeah. I don't know if you know. I appreciate the support. Don't know if you know. We have many channels. Laowhy86, SerpentZA, ADVChina. And we
Worthless
have
Whips.
Worthless Whips, which is not about this at all.
No.
And ADV Podcast, which you're watching now. So if you don't like the long ones, go check out the short ones.
Yeah, we've got some pretty good videos on those channels.
Grant.
Thank you.
Tim Pool had John Tamney on, who is shilled for the CCP. Don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Might be worth watching so you can correct some stuff when you go on or just for your own content. Also, Tim obviously didn't agree with his guest. Well, that's good to hear. If he's not agreeing with a shill, appreciate that. And we'll be talking to him soon.
Oh, absolutely, at some point. We'll be on the show.
We're not going to tell you guys like right before it happened.
No, because then there'll be like CCP sycophants waiting for us at the airport to like
we're going to be there
assassinate us
next week. So see you there, CCP sycophants.
Yeah, exactly. Come to the Chicago airport or something.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, come there.
We'll be in the Chicago
our flight
airport.
number is
AE732.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's it. Go find us. We're waiting. Yeah, we'll meet you there. Yeah.
Send all your agents and pay them a lot.
Yes.
Please. Forrest Grump says, thanks. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Venture Crew, thank you. David Neufeld. CCP infiltrated indigenous activism in Vancouver. Yet does the same ethnic genocide as Canada did with its infamous residential school system.
Yeah, no, that's something they've realized, that it's very good to attack the sensitivities of the West by, going after the past. And they love to bring in like indigenous, or like you saw with the black, slavery, anything that the West has already admitted to, all right, and is out there, not being hidden. Okay, and everybody's ashamed of it. There's not, I don't know people who are like, oh yeah, we love that, It's out there, it's been apologized for, reparations have been made or are being made or are on the card, whatever. The fact of the matter is the West is open about this stuff. And China attacks that because they know it's a soft spot, it's a weak spot. Yet they are complicit in doing worse things in modern day right now. Even though we have all of this history to teach us not to do these things in the future, or to teach us the folly of our ways. They don't understand that. They'd rather just look at it as a playbook. This is how we do it.
And we're allowed to do it because we are not what you think is bad.
Yeah. So, I was
not white.
Yeah, exactly. I just really was appalled how they've, like you said, infiltrated the native activism and stuff in Australia and Canada and things like that. They've got nothing to do with that, yet they use it as a tool.
Right.
They support that kind of thing.
Have you noticed that, though? I made a joke, but it's serious. Have you noticed how the CCP, what they do is, we're allowed to do these bad things because we're not white.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
Absolutely.
We're not white, so you can't say anything about it.
Absolutely. And then they pull the racism card all the time. And that's something that they've figured out. And it's something that they will just always harp on about. Oh, it's racist to say that the Chinese government committing genocide is bad.
Right.
And people shut up because they're morons.
Sure. Venture Crew says, I'm terrified to say anything here, especially to the locals. # debate somebody on YouTube. Winston has a spiel about that we'll probably talk about sometimes. Yeah. Why we haven't debated the pro-China shills, this pro-CCP shills. And it more or less boils down to the fact, it's a very simple argument. If all of the things that they say are not true, and it's all Western media lies, and everything we say is true, then allow journalism to happen within China. It's very simple.
Yeah.
Then why did they try to stop us so much?
Yeah.
And why are they trying to prevent any ounce of truth from actual third-party journalists from going to China to figure it out?
Yeah.
Just let it happen then.
Yeah.
It's the debate ends there.
It does.
You can't be in a country with 0% freedom of speech, where there's one Communist Party mouthpiece, and when you're working for them, why would you debate someone like that?
Yeah.
What are you going to learn from that?
All they're going to do is bring up, just like we've seen in this episode, they're going to bring up the West did this.
Right.
As a defense for what's going on.
And all we're going to say is, why is there no third-party journalists able to go check out these things?
Sure.
And when you say, and again, can I make my plea again?
Sure.
You shills. You Western white people, the people.
Yeah. Or the
people, whatever.
Yeah.
You people that are not Chinese, you people that are working for CGTN currently, right? Mm-hmm. And we know who you are because you've said that you're working for CGTN.
Yeah, we know all of you, yeah.
And you've made it clear to everyone that you work with the Chinese government. When you go on your paid trip to Xinjiang, or even if it's of your own volition, when you go to Xinjiang, right, you have the most amazing opportunity to make everyone in the world shut the hell up.
Yeah, to
and
prove
expose everyone wrong, including us, not just us, but the top dogs, like the Adrian Zenzes of the world and all these people that have gone out there to say there's genocide in Xinjiang. You have the most unique opportunity right now because you have you're shielded by the Chinese government, and they're going to put you in. They're going to let you go to Xinjiang. You have the opportunity because you've said on multiple occasions China is one of the freest countries in the world.
Sure.
It's not censored. There's freedom of media and freedom of movement and freedom of speech, and people can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And all of this is Western media lies. Based on those principles, and this is not a loaded thing, and I think you'd agree with me, you have the perfect opportunity to go talk to Uyghur people, unfettered, not the ones that they hand you. Go out there, you bring a translator if you need to.
Yeah, have a camera.
Have a camera and go talk to people outside of the places you're allowed to go.
Don't let us see you in that little square.
Don't go in that square with the doves.
With the doves and the propaganda poster.
Yeah. Go out. We have the GPS coordinates of the camps.
Yes.
We know exactly where they are. Go to the camps and talk to people in neighboring villages. Talk to people in the camps because it's just a vocational camp. They're not imprisoned, right?
Yeah, surely you can go in there.
It's not a genocide.
No.
It's just a place where people clock in and clock out because they need jobs and China's helping them. Go in there, and I swear to God, I want you guys to do this, and talk to them. Not prearranged.
No, you can't have your CGTN handler there with you.
You're allowed to go there, and you've already said that you have freedom of movement. You can do whatever you want. Go there without your handlers and go film your interviews with these people and prove us wrong.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity. You have the golden ticket. We're not allowed to go there, but you are.
No, it's not going to happen, obviously.
No, that's why
you're going to see them like, oh, look at how great the food is here. Look how happy everyone is. I turned all the stones over in this one square, and I didn't see any genocide right here in the middle of Kashgar.
One of the shills says, give me the location. I'm going soon. The locations are everywhere, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Go on. Have you not seen the graphs, the drone footage, the coordinates, every single article and people that have figured out the satellite imagery? It's all publicly available.
Yep.
Go. Please go.
Yep. Anyway, let's move on to our next question.
Okay. Saptarshi Sengupta says there is a Guardian video about a Chinese man who snitched on his own mother, got her killed, and regretted it for the rest of his life. It's sad as hell.
Yep. I've seen that video.
Yes, it's terrible. Where are we? Oh, Jia. Have you ever discussed little pinks? Xiaofenhong. Xiaofenhong Yiga.
Okay.
I don't know what the Yiga is for.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before.
Those immigrants who are still in the process of de-brainwashing, I believe that this can actually be sometimes more dangerous than Wu Mao, but also wonderful when they finally come out of it.
I think I actually read an article this morning about Vicky Xu, and I can't remember what publication it was in, but where she talked about how she was a nationalist, Little Pink, and she changed her mind after going to Australia and talking to dissidents and stuff, and how that all changed. And it's pretty telling. It's a good thing to read. It just shows you, that's what happens. You're kind of brainwashed into thinking everything the Chinese government says, and it often takes real life experience, in fact, all the time, to change your mind. You have to see it for yourself. Yeah.
Gvoden, what are your thoughts on the Canadian Liberals threatening to pull funding from the Halifax Security Forum if they gave it an award to the Taiwan president?
Yeah, that's nonsense.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's just nonsense. You should be able to recognize Taiwan if you want to. Why not?
Luis Torruella, Indiana equals Indians.
Apparently, according to the CGTN.
Aren't they called Native Americans anyway, bro?
Yeah.
Not you, bro. I'm talking to her, bro.
Yeah.
Sander Gierston Oswald says, let's all report wolf wankers on gov.cn for breaching the Great Firewall to use Western social media.
That would be good.
I'm sure the CCP will stay true to their system and make them do a forced confession and jail them all up for good. Keep this in mind, the irony.
Double standards. Yeah.
The government employees of China are allowed to go on free Western internet and say whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
Adol Mir, interesting. Similar tactics used against dissidents in Kashmir. India shut down free speech, assembly, and media, attempting to intimidate activists abroad.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about right there.
Ross Wolf says the absolute irony of not doing a Wolf Warrior video because you get busted for copyright when showing a Chinese film. That is ironic.
Isn't it ironic? Yeah.
Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? Alanis Morissette would agree.
It's a jagged little pill to swallow right there.
I love Alanis Morissette. Yeah. Sean York, if either of you are ever riding near the Great Lakes region, I know where all the good roads are and we can have a couple of Qingdaos.
Awesome.
Keep up the good work, my friends. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you so much.
Linda Hunter, hello, fellows. Hope you're all well.
Thank you. We are. I'm feeling a bit down from the shot, but I'm okay.
Robert Appleby, I just thought I'd tell you UK is doing... you just said that?
Okay.
Wu Mao Clan, my dog got run over by a truck, so I gave it the Sinovac to put an end to its suffering.
Okay. I like that.
Aurora Diaz Timpool, when? Next Friday on flight AE 732. 732. Yeah, whatever. 736. Sorry. V Diddy, do you think anything can undo the brainwashing from the CCP education system? It seems like no scandals or issues have any lasting power among people.
Yeah, it's tough.
No.
But it does happen, like I said. Read the story about Vicky Xu. It does happen, and I know other people like her too.
Right.
You can't. It's very rare to find people like her that are outspoken about it. A lot of people they snap out of this dream, but then they don't say much about it.
People have already been taking care of our jobs.
Right, that's cool. Let's continue.
Saptarshi Sengupta, do you think Xi will just appoint a Mingzi as his successor and start a dynasty like the Kim's North Korea? Has Xi's personality cult surpassed Mao's? It's close. And yes, I could see that happening. Absolutely. He's already distilled the party into being fully in support of him to the point where there's no checks and balances even within the party. It's just good news to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Cook, Why do scuba divers always fall backwards into water? Because if they fall forward, they will fall into the boat.
Okay.
It's like a pretty good dad joke.
Oh, right. Okay. That's true. Okay.
Mike Huter, good to see you, Mike. Here's the upcoming Worthless Whips Cars for Kids.
Thank you.
We almost gave it to Cars for Kids, but they're so annoying to get a hold of.
Yeah, we gave it to another.
We gave it to Make-A-Wish.
Oh,
we donated to Make-A-Wish.
Yeah, that was the Mercedes we gave to them. Yeah.
Hopefully the jingle won't get you a copyright strike. Great show, guys. Oh, another message to Shills out there. Why don't you donate to some charity while you're at it?
Yeah.
Give it a shot. It feels good.
Yep.
Mike Spike, you guys should work with media to expose CCP lies. The media, a lot of the media just the other day.
Yeah.
I won't even say what it is. I don't want to give more exposure to it. They claimed like 100% of my material. Yeah. I won't say what video it is. 100% of my research is their own, and then called me the dark corner of somewhere on the internet.
Yeah.
That's the relationship media has with our material. They wait.
Big media is
we're
not
like
very good.
2 to 3 weeks ahead usually on our topics. Then they pick it up, and then they're like, "Oh, it's someone.
This is what we did.
This is what we did."
Yeah.
Not to say all media does that. Some media is good.
There's some good media.
Mike Spike, you guys, we'll just throw that. David Pay, beer money.
Thank you.
Also, my second shot gave me abdominal pain, arm sore. I put a hot pack in my arm, moved on. Nice.
Excellent.
Good job. Tsering Song, when I was in university on International Day, I had a table for Tibet. We had Chinese government officials on the exchange program. They harassed me for hours and the university and had to put security at my table.
Yeah, this is what's happening,
wow.
You know?
I mean, it does happen.
It does.
That's in the West, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's probably Canada or Australia, one of the two. You know, this does happen a lot because they cannot abide dissenting opinions.
No.
You know?
Winnie Yip. Hey guys, I just got paid, so here's my token of appreciation for what you guys do. Thank you so much. I recently told someone about you guys and she jumped straight onto your Patreon to show her support. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate that.
Very
it's the only way we can do what we're doing.
Yeah.
First Utopia. When are you guys going to set up crypto donations for the channel? Well, instead of crypto donations, go to our Malicious Mao NFT, which is in the description right now. We'll probably make some more artwork in the future.
Sure.
And that'll be our crypto donations.
Okay.
Actually, both of us have crypto donations on our channels personally.
Yeah, you can
in
see
our
in the descriptions. Yeah.
Frank Tupling.
I've received a total of 2 donations from some very generous people.
I did like a couple years ago. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's incredible the amount of generosity out there. I'm always blown away by anyone who supports us.
Actually, someone the other day. Yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah, it's just it's very humbling, and I want to thank everybody who actually is generous towards us.
Yeah, it's like
means the world to us.
You're all we got.
Yeah.
We don't have any delicious government CCP funding or any religions backing us.
No.
Frank Tupling. Do you regret the Chinese girls in hottest provinces videos? Why would I regret that? That's a great video. It was fun.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, why would I regret doing that? It was a fun video. You shot that for me, actually.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why would I regret that?
Yep.
Robert Appleby. I'm not trying to be intentionally controversial topics, but how do you fix an 8 kids without putting kids on trials? Kids in the UK have tons of injections and lots of people hate animal trials here. What?
We'll deconstruct that later and think about giving it a proper answer at a later date. Thank you again.
Yes. For Ranger Xbox, I have watched Winston for about 6 years because my family was flying Air China and transfer to Beijing. Very scary. Yeah, I would avoid we would avoid any transfers within China. That would not be a good idea.
Yep.
Santi, remember to tie your shoes. The public service announcement is brought to you by the number 5. Thank you, Sesame Street. Cryptius S, the CCP are Asian Nazis. Do you think we will enter World War III when China finally makes their move on Taiwan? Thanks for all your videos. Number 1, I don't think China will make a move on Taiwan. They'll continue saber rattling.
Yep.
I don't think they could successfully take Taiwan without sacrificing millions of their own single children. And women that lose their single children are not going to enjoy that very much when their family legacy doesn't go anywhere and then they can't make any more money because the kids have to take care of their parents.
Sure.
Not to mention the hundreds of other reasons why that would be a horrible idea. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. I do think the West is correct in being skeptical and worried about China's moves on Taiwan?
They absolutely have to be a deterrent.
They have to.
Because, look, if it was easy, it would be done.
Yes.
If they could just roll in there and kind of claim it, they would.
Right.
So without
don't be alarmist.
Yeah, without the West maneuvering over there and kind of keeping an eye on things.
Absolutely.
China would probably just make a move. Kind of like a Rhineland, just marching
it would be
there.
a horrible idea. Yeah. Even without U.S. support, it would be horrifically bloody.
Sure.
But still, even that being said. James, I know it's completely unrelated, but my friendly PSA, add a shot of lemon juice to your drink to avoid getting kidney stones. Great idea.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And we consume a lot of lemons.
Yeah, lemons are awesome.
Carlson Coy, thanks for addressing my question about my girlfriend, me, and her father. I'll try to change the subject next time he presses me. Yeah, and if he's baiting you, that's not your fault. I would say don't roll over, but don't try to mitigate the situation.
You could just be sarcastic too and tell him, "Gong Chan Dan Wan Sui."
That's what we do sometimes.
Yeah, which may
we have a new campaign going
exactly.
on right now.
It's really funny.
We get reached out by Chinese companies that want us to promote products, and we always say it's going to cost you $100,000 for a 10-second integration or something, and then we always say "Gong Chan Dan Wan Sui," which means 10,000 years to the Communist Party of China, and then also sometimes Zhongguo Di, like China's number one, and Xi Jinping Shuo Ba Ba. Like Xi Jinping is my dad.
Maybe if you piss him off with these sayings, he might just leave you alone.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we keep replying this to companies that are offering us money that we turn down. We guys want you to understand, we've never taken money from you. They offer us decent money to work with Chinese companies, and we turn them all down with these sarcastic statements. And I actually got one reply.
I remember
one reply, and she wrote, Sulian Wan Sui, which means Soviet Union 10,000 years. But anyway, that's about it.
Yeah. Excellent, guys. Thank you for bearing with us today.
Thank you, Gordon.
Thank you very much for coming in and being a part of this very important conversation that we have every week here. You are really part of something very special and something very important that we do here. And can't wait to see you next time. I have a video coming out tomorrow. It's going to be a live stream as well. I'm feeling super under the weather after this shot, so I haven't been able to edit anything, but I'll make sure it's interesting. And
thank you. Thank you to the people that just sent donations, Robert. I don't think China and Russia are allies, so don't worry about that. AEG Play, a few bowls of ramen. Suggested to go to O Ramen in Bakersfield, California. They have actually go to a farm to get fresh bamboo shoots. That sounds amazing.
That sounds great.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, we'll see you on all our regular videos that we put out every week, and just really can't wait to see you in the next one. So until then, I'm not going to cut myself off this time, and